welcome to the Ravioli show. I'm your host, Gabriel Moreno. I'm joined with Jimmy Rogers, as usual. And today we have a wonderful guest in Vittorio Angelone. Vittorio, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm bleeding, which is pretty interesting. And the more I do this, the more blood comes out of my face. Which is,
Can you put a glass beneath you and at the end of the podcast? We'll see how much you've lost. I feel like that's a fun game to play. Yeah. How long can we podcast before our comedian bleeds out to death?
I'll just pass out. Fucking hell. I've got slightly thin blood. I've got a condition.
Our Twitter messages now go from like, oh yeah, okay, cool, I'll send you this at this time, to me going, oh, my co-host's going to be a little bit late. We might be able to say it. You going, no worries, I'm bleeding, so I'm going to go fix that. I'll be back in a minute. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's fine. It's wonderful. Right, Jimmy, how are you?
Yeah, I'm alright.
All right, good. Today's topics, we're going to be covering some comedies today. I felt like it was, I don't want to say relevant, but it was also partially it's typical of me to be like, oh, man who does comedy.
Being relevant.
Yeah.
The Revenant.
Yeah, The Revenant. Yeah, we're covering The Revenant. Good.
Oh, I thought you meant Revel, like the assorted chocolates.
Oh, what, the ones that...
Yeah.
How do you feel about... This is not...
If you eat Revels, you're a psychopath. If you eat Revels, you're a psychopath.
I'm terrible. When they're on a bowl, I get in an awful mood where I'm like, oh, it's like a gambling game. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll win. Oh, I got a nice one. And then I play it long enough till I get a coffee one and I go, oh, no, that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. That was stupid of me.
It's fucking... I used to do a thing at any house parties I had where I would have a bowl with a mix of M&Ms and Skittles.
Oh, you horrible bastard.
Oh, you can also do Reese's Pieces.
Well, I'm allergic to peanuts, so I wouldn't want that.
Even better.
The last podcast I appeared on,
yeah.
The last podcast I appeared on was like a beer podcast, and they sent me some beers to like try.
What did they say? We're not sending you popcorn. I just want you to know that we're not sending you popcorn. They
sent me a peanut stout, and I was like,
no.
"Trying to fucking kill me."
Oh dear, yeah. I suppose if you're sending out like live food products and stuff, you should probably be like, has anyone got any allergies before I send someone something out?
They did ask, but they'd already sent it because I assumed when they were like, "You're not allergic to peanuts, are you?" I just because you know when you get packets of beer, you sometimes get like little snacks with it or whatever. Yeah. So I was like, I'll just not eat the thing that I'm allergic to. Don't worry, it's fine. But then they said,
"You a beer, nice." Yeah, you can't get around that one. All right, let's start off with just a simple. I got a really simple question first. We're gonna have a guest first. Have you got a favorite comedy?
Favorite comedy? Because
for me, I've got brackets of them. Like I feel like the Edgar Wright Cornetto trilogy is one whole thing that, like, for me is pinnacle. But that's just all three are like there. I don't dislike one more than the other, and blah blah blah. So
I think all the films that are my favorite films are funny, but they're probably not comedies.
No, that's really common modern day. I had another question about like it's becoming a normal genre just to put with everything now.
Well, I think so. My favorite film is In Bruges, or The Guard. And not many people have seen The Guard.
I don't know. No.
So it's by John Michael McDonagh, who's Martin McDonagh's cousin.
Right, that's a fucking okay. That's just like it's by this guy who's done this, and this.
But it's got a fucking class. It's Brendan Gleeson and Don Cheadle are the two leads in it. And it's
I'm looking at it now. It looks very good.
Class. It's so good. Again, it's probably not. I don't know what's it listed as. Does it say comedy? It probably says like
comedy. Comedy crime thriller. So there you go.
Comedy crime. That could be it. Blues Brothers, if you're looking for a more straight ahead comedy.
Fantastic movie.
Those are my. I think those are probably my three favorite films.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy, what are you throwing up there? Is this the part where you go? Oh, fair enough. Yeah, okay, that's a very good one.
Still underappreciated. Even people who say it's underappreciated forget about it.
I was so waiting for you to go and do I've come just to. I don't know why I've come just to recognize. I was so waiting for you to be like, I haven't watched comedy in so long. No, I've watched nothing but moody Christopher Nolan films.
We spoke about this game. I don't like films. I don't really know why we do this podcast.
We have a term on this podcast which is I don't want to sound like a film student, which is ironic because we're both film students, but it's like it's that feeling of wanting to go, this thing's great and underappreciated, but I don't want to sound like an edgy twat being like, this is great, you should all watch this because companies aren't showing you it.
Well, you've got the uniform as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we both do. We both
No,
are dressed
Jimmy, I think you're really all black with a cap. You look like Ron Howard in black and white.
Good. All right, good. It's been on 10 minutes and my ego's already deflating like a lead balloon.
It needed to do that for a while, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been needed for a little while. I'm gonna throw okay. So for example, I put a list here. I suggest some random ones here. So we have the Edgar Wright stuff, which is all, in my opinion, like if you.
So I'm shit at this. Who the?
So Edgar Wright is Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead.
So those three.
Those three, World's End as well. Like those three are in their own.
Did he do Paul as well? Is it just like?
He did do Paul. I don't know.
Yeah,
I believe he didn't direct it. I think he writes on it though, because it's the same. It's the same guys around it.
He probably did something on it, but it was like it had like Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, so
yeah, it's the same guys. I think it's the same production company as well. But like that bubble for me is like that's especially from like. That I feel like it's really funny because he's an English filmmaker. It's so British orientated, and yet it's loved around the world. Like the jokes
that's a funny one. Yeah,
it is, isn't it? Like because like I watched Shaun of the Dead not too long ago, and like there's so many references that fly under the radar unless you're English or British. You just don't understand because it's like.
Well, I like his stuff because it always like appeals to different places in Britain. That's what people don't really understand. Like America and stuff, they just see it's like you just have like England and then. But it's actually like it's so like it's weirdly diverse. I mean, it's all
Hot Fuzz is incredible. Like, to put a film in that, no one's ever put an action movie in that.
But it's like you have like so Shaun of the Dead's like London, right? So yeah, it's not like the London you see in like American movies where it's like
no, it's not sky rises and stuff. It's like suburban London.
And then you have you have like the kind of Hot Fuzz is all about like the little village, and that actually like the suburban life terrifies me. I hate it so much.
Where did you grow up?
The way he went terrifies me. Like it was like you get there and you're like, oh my god.
Life, and that's why it scares me. I think I've realized that like all the little like parish councils and the little like Facebook posts.
Curtain twitchers. I can't deal with people.
Like, curtain twitchers.
See what them across the road are doing, and then I fucking hate those.
My mum read out like a post to me about this person who put on 3 a.m. on like the Facebooks, you know, about this guy on a moped at 3 a.m. and just like this maniac who's driving his moped down the street at 3 a.m. making noise. It's like it's a moped.
He's just driving. He's not doing anything.
He's just going somewhere. Just let him do his shit. I had funny ones. I put on comedy shows in my garden in July, August.
How was your thing then? Yeah, I imagine you must have got some
thing
people,
on fucking Nextdoor. People are like, what's going on this street? There seems to be a lot of noise and cars and stuff. And I was like, don't fucking say it.
See, your comedy isn't. I've got some questions later on about it, but like your comedy is not. It's not the full blown. I don't know who to compare. I don't want to compare it to anyone, but like it's not the full blown. I'm gonna shout swear words and like nonce constantly. It's a little bit more. Which is why I feel like if you're doing one in your garden, you got next door neighbours who are like, what's going on out there? Cunt! What? No! Like that's really not a good, like that doesn't work well. If you're kind of teetering it, then I suppose you can toe the line a little bit more. I actually put one down here. So I just want to get everyone's opinion on the Bad Boys films. Because a lot of people, right. A lot of people watch that and go, it's either an awful action movie and a really good comedy, or it's a really good comedy and an awful action movie. I feel like it's the second one.
Why are people still getting like annoyed about watching like someone like Michael Bay and it not being perfection? Why are people getting annoyed at that? Like, do you not know what you're getting into?
This is what I find with films in general. I very rarely hate a film because I think if you just know what you're signing up to, you just go, oh, that's what they like. People go see like the Expendables and they're like, it was just explosions, and I'm like, of course it was just explosions. It's the fucking Expendables. What are you talking about?
I enjoy I feel like, oh Jesus Christ, it'd be so filching. I feel like
that's the one.
It's the worst insult to give myself. I always feel like because when you're studying it, like, I can't watch a movie and just switch off. Part of, like, as much as I want to, part of my brain is going, that's a good thing, that's a bad thing, that's lazy, the writing there's shit, so like, I don't want, so it's like kind of the idea of watching it with an outside perspective of going, okay, I know nothing about how this necessarily works, but I enjoy explosions, cool guy line, explosions. For me, I'm like, oh, that didn't look good. and I can't help but do that. It's like
I have that with music because I was
exactly,
yeah.
Yeah,
and it's
like,
so
it's
sad.
You
like
just have it.
I'm not as bad as a lot of my friends.
It ruins things, doesn't it?
If
it ruins
they
good
listen
things.
to music, they subconsciously, without being in control, they name every chord as it goes past.
Yeah,
in a song.
nuts.
That just happens in their head normally.
What was it you studied with? What instrument did you study with?
Percussion.
I read it somewhere, but what was it? Because you said it. You called it. I think it was like the easiest thing you've ever done was trying to get that thing.
Well, it's not. So I think what I say normally is that it's very, very easy to be okay at percussion. Like it's the fucking easiest thing in the world to be like fine, passable.
Yeah.
It's get like to be really fucking expert at it.
Yeah.
Quite fucking difficult.
Like anything, it takes a lot of time.
But I have friends who studied film, and my mate, the most film school name ever, my mate Horatio. He.
Oh Christ! Oh God!
He says he'll be watching a film and guessing the focal lengths of.
Yeah, see that's.
I'm just like, how do you ever? I love not knowing about stuff, and even in comedy, like, I try not to learn. Like, there's words for all the different types of jokes that you can do.
Yeah.
So it's like a pull back and reveal, a bait and switch. I don't really know what any of those mean because I don't want to.
No, you don't want to. Yeah, otherwise, when you're watching it, it becomes a thing of going, "Oh, he's doing that bit," which you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's.
I don't do that as such. But Gabe, you might do this. It's like it only ever happens in like either a really good film that I'm super into, or like something that's like super awful that I'm just like, this is not working.
Okay. Where are we going with this?
It's like it's pretty basic. It's like being able to like tell what they're gonna like cut to next, like either like the character's reaction.
Oh yeah.
Pretty basic stuff, but also like shot type as well. It's like I'm watching a good film and I'll be like, okay, well they're gonna cut to like this next whatever, and then it's like they do, and it's like, okay, well there you go. But then like a bad
the
film,
reveal's the one that always gets me.
Why did they cut to that there? It's like, so it's not like.
It's terrible.
Like,
it's also really bad when you're in a group of
like,
friends who don't do that, because then afterwards you're the cunt going, oh, by the way, that was poor. I didn't like that moment there.
I don't sit like Rain Man, like saying it out loud. I'm just like,
don't sit there like Rain Man. I think that you should stop there, Jimmy. After that sentence, that's fine. You're not in the middle of the movie just picking it apart to pieces in the cinema. Actually, I've done that with certain movies. I can't lie. I put here. So the standard style of comedies / rom-coms dying. Because I'd say like the standard rom-com is dying. It has to be a little different now. Things have to be kind of switched up for a little bit to be able to work nowadays. I don't think people as like, what's her name? And she does, I'll go watch this, where they fall in love and then they break up for a bit and then they're back together at the end and it's all happy. But I don't think standard comedies is dying at all. I think that's probably more prevalent than ever, or being shoehorned into more projects than ever.
So like a standard...
I'm talking like, I'm trying to think, I'm going to really just pick apart some movies here. Like, she's just a town girl. She's moved to the city, but life isn't what she expected, and she's like that
fish
stuff
out of water
that's starting to get like, okay, here we go. Yeah, all right.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you think people feel like, because you were saying that like they need to change something, Gabe? Does that mean like you feel like it needs kind of like a gimmick, I guess is the word, for it to sort of, like be different? I mean, I watched About Time recently. I
really enjoyed About Time,
and like that did it quite well, because that didn't feel like it was a gimmick. Yeah. It just felt like it was kind of like.
Have you seen that as well, Vittorio?
Yeah, I really like that film.
I said to a friend of mine before, I love the fact that this is not on time. We do this. We can't say.
No, it's a comedy.
It's amazing that we do this. But
I would say it's a comedy.
All right, fair enough. But the fact that halfway through it switches from being about him and his life to being a father and son movie, it becomes like a really nice like. Oh, you see now, like I get where this was going the whole time, and it's just a nice. I personally loved it, and the actor in it, I only know him from Star Wars beforehand, so I was like,
Donald Gleason. That's Brendan Gleason's son.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're funny.
Awesome.
One time, they were both nominated for an award, and Brendan Gleason won, but he wasn't at the award ceremony, so Donald Gleason had to go accept the award, and he gave a speech about how he just lost his dad.
imagine that? Oh,
it's so
and
funny.
I just add down, my dad would not. In my dad's head, if he's got to go up and get it, it's his award. Like, I'm not getting that award back. I'm not getting it back.
But Donald Gleason goes up and goes, "Well done."
See, I remember Jimmy. We spoke to he's a teacher of one of ours, and he's an incredible. He's a very funny, lovely teacher of ours. We love him to pieces. He's an amazing guy. And he jokes about there's a movie. I can't remember the name of the movie for the life of me, but the movie is about a film student who becomes a director and wins an award. And he's got this. It's almost like his father figure. He got taught film by and everything. And in his speech at the end where he wins, he said the whole point throughout the movie, the father figure is struggling with the fact that he's gay, but he's got a wife and he won't come out. Blah blah. The point at the end, in his speech, Jimmy knows where I'm going. In his speech in the film, he goes, "But for God's sake, come out!" Like to the camera, to millions watching. He just says,
it's his old. He's talking to his old film teacher,
professor or whatever.
Like,
yeah.
Award ceremony, he's watching on the television. And
so when our teacher told us this, I looked at Jimmy and went, "If I win and he's not gay, I'm gonna go up on stage and at the end of my speech, I'm gonna go, but Reg, it's time. Just come out." Just watch him at home go, "What? No, wait, what? What? He's joking. Don't leave. He's joking."
So funny.
I was like, that's
so
my
funny.
aim. Yeah. I was like, because that's especially because he's not. It's funnier if he's not gay. And I'm just
absolutely.
Have we spoken about on the podcast yet? Like what the funniest things to say?
We've planned some terrible things to say.
Have we said that? I know we've had that conversation a lot before. Like,
yeah.
What you would say if you ever won an award.
I am someone who I feel like I would, even if you're up for film awards right now, aren't you? You're nominated two different film festivals.
Yeah.
So there you go. But for me personally, I would be like, I'm gonna plan all this shit, and then if I won, I think I'd break down. Like, I don't think I'd be able to get a word out, and that's just because I just would be like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, I think the weird thing for me is I'm not a filmmaker, really. Like, that's not my fucking thing.
No, I mean, you do it well. I'll give you that. You do it very well. But...
it's selective or whatever. It's fine. But it's like, if I win any of those and I have to give a fucking speech,
you're gonna go up and do a 10-minute routine.
I'll just get up and be like, "Lads, you got
beat by me.
I shot and edited this on an iPhone 8. Get your shit together."
With a tough ear.
What the fuck are you not doing? Look at all of you. Yeah, that's amazing. Oh god, yeah, that would be
that's so true. Cause
we plan things where it's like, what was the one you once were like? I'm gonna go up and go.
Oh yeah, no. So if I ever win an Oscar,
go on.
Or anything really, I'm just gonna go up and just, "I'll see you next year." Like, walk off. I might even just leave the Oscar on the the podium and just walk away.
Just leave.
Yeah.
Just leave and don't look back. You can't look back at that point. You can't do it.
I'm not gonna go to the after party or anything. I'm gone.
You could do the Mean Girls thing where you break off a piece and throw it into the.
Imagine standing at the Oscar podium and go, "Snap." I imagine
Scorsese, you have one. Tarantino, you have one.
Who hasn't won one of these, you dumbass? Where are you?
If I ever do well enough to get into if I ever do well enough to get into the industry enough, do well enough to get an Oscar, Tarantino's not going to be alive at that point. Tarantino's been dead for 60 years.
I was going to say, I'm not only that, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not going to know anyone's name because I'm going to be working. I would be working every single day, not socializing with anyone.
Yeah,
I have to work properly. That's why I don't think.
I don't like the fact that when you try and work in when you go to people, "I want to be a film director," people go, "Oh, cool, director like Tarantino and Nolan and I'm like, no, because those two are insane. I don't want to be like them.
Yeah,
they're both fucking
crazy.
Nuts and crazy, and there's definitely a lot of hidden shit that happens where they're maybe an arsehole to each other.
I love it when you see
I'm good. I'm my own thing. Please don't link me with that.
I love when you just see normal people that are doing well. Just like Rian Johnson's a good example. He just seems like a really normal person.
What's he directed?
He did the Star Wars everyone hated and Knives Out.
Luther.
Okay.
Have you seen Knives Out before? I'd honestly, genuinely would recommend.
But I mean, even if you haven't seen it, he just seems like a super nice guy.
Yeah,
trying to make shit. He seems really
I do like that stuff where it's just you don't need to be this fucking chaos.
No, you don't.
You don't need to be fucking Tarantino being like,
Tarantino, I wrote a part of it for like I wrote it in a thing I did lately that like nowadays names like Tarantino and Nolan are what A-list actors were in the early 2000s. Like it's that punch. Have you seen the latest Tarantino film? It's incredible to think he's there.
Better.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's better than going. Oh, have you seen the new fucking Tom Cruise?
It is. It is.
Because you don't really hear that anymore, do you? You don't hear like the new Tom.
It's really funny that you've mentioned Tom Cruise because there's a fight or wimp scenario involving a Tom Cruise later on in the show.
I beat the fuck out of Tom Cruise.
You just step on him.
Good. No, but there's a twist. I've made it more difficult than that.
Okay.
I have to make it seem like
it's sort of even fight. The whole time.
Yeah, you have to wear your mask the whole time. And he's got the power of Scientology. So I put his comedy methods like okay. For example, take Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, those kind of movies, right? It's very simple comedy where it's like physical comedy. He's going to do a thing, you're going to laugh, and then there's a line afterwards that makes it funnier. It like builds upon itself, and then there's the line. Simple. Do we prefer that, or do we prefer like Deadpool, look at my dick jokes?
No.
Because I'm one of those people who's like, I'm one of those people who's like, I prefer this. I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I prefer the smart comedy. But this is still funny. It's just
100%.
This might be better. Like this makes me cry with laughter.
Well, there's a difference. My mate always says it about comedians. My mate Robbie, who's also a very good comedian, he's like, he says you get those comedians that you might laugh more in the room at, but you won't remember their jokes the next day.
Yeah.
And it's like, because the initial impact is different to the lasting impact. So like,
for sure.
I feel like the Hot Fuzz stuff kind of drills into you a bit more, and everyone knows, like, and you like catching them swans then, like everyone who's seen that film remembers that.
Yeah.
Even if you've just seen it once.
Yeah, Great Big Bushy Beard, all of those references come out. Yeah.
And it's just like, that's a sign of really, really good writing. Whereas like that, I couldn't quote a single Deadpool line, and I think I saw it twice.
I can't think of
I've seen
he had a
Deadpool.
Baby hand. That's all I know.
I've seen Deadpool maybe like 3 times. And
that's a really
I still don't really
joke,
like it,
but
I can't think of a single right landing. And I saw Deadpool 2 once, and I didn't never watch it again.
There's some good. Like you say, they're still very funny. It's just one is like, that I'm gonna remember that, or I'm gonna think about that joke constantly now.
Yeah.
That one I'm probably just it's fine.
I think it's also because you're trying to think of the lines that haven't been put on T-shirts like 100 times.
Yeah.
Do you think as an example of a comedy that I think has suffered from people incessantly quoting it, I think Anchorman.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I'm annoyed by Anchorman now, and it's not Anchorman's fault.
I must add as well. It's not Anchorman's fault. Ron Burgundy did nothing. I am one of those two people who are like, I really like the second one, but no one quotes the second one.
I can't even remember.
I get away with being like, I love this film, and no one's gonna fucking ruin this film because you're all too busy with that one. Like you all are screaming about this film.
You lose that sort of like, I guess like surprise because you're like, okay, this is the line where it says this bit and this bit and this bit. Like, I mean, I could go back and watch the Cornetto trilogy, and like I've seen those films 100 times before, but there's still like always gonna be a bit. Whether it's just like the timing's a bit earlier than I expected or whatever, like it's always gonna like take me off guard. Like
the bit
in The Guard, which I watched, I've seen The Guard probably 20 times, maybe 30 times, and I watched it 2 nights ago and went, oh, she killed herself. I thought she just died.
That's even because what were you doing when the film was going? And you're like,
is that just like memory loss, or is that?
There's one line that lets you know.
Yeah, no, it's well hidden. Yeah.
Killed herself, and you're like, I only listened to it properly. I was like, whoa, like it's not key to the story. It's not like, but it's like a lovely little moment and a lovely like that, like kind of bump in the story of like that. Like it's so beautiful, and I just like had never clocked it before. Like in my head, I was like, she died of death.
It's of death, yeah.
Because she's like, so like, I don't want to like spoilers if you haven't seen The Guard, but like it doesn't fucking ruin the film or anything. Brendan Gleeson's character's mum is like terminally ill from the start of the film. She's got like cancer. She's in a hospice, and in the middle of the film she dies and he goes and packs up her room. And I just thought she died of cancer because she was like it was all leading up, like these are the last few days of her life. But then there's a line that I'd never really clocked before, where the doctor, when he's packing up the room, says, "We checked the dispensary and nothing's missing." And Brendan Gleeson goes, "Oh, she probably saved them up." She's right, like that. Yeah. As in, like, she saved up all her medication and then overdosed herself because she wanted to end it on her terms. Yeah. And I'd never clocked that before at all.
and then you watching it going, how the fuck have I missed it? I watched 20 times.
Literally 25 times I've seen that film.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy.
For me, I think they're my favourite moments in movies. When I watch it back now and I'm like, I completely forgot this is even a line. Like, so for me personally, it's like I've always been a big nerd in general, but like for me as a kid, the Marvel was a big part, and then the movies as I grew up were like, oh great, it's on the big screen, fantastic. But like the comedy aspect in, like, I especially throw to like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are fucking incredible comedy moments. Yeah. But like it's not a comedy film. It's just like we're just gonna throw. There's a line in the second one which I completely forgot, which is like I think Groot goes to get a hat. I know he wears a thing as a hat. And he goes, he doesn't like hats because it makes people's head looks funny. And Rocket goes, wait a minute, the reason why you don't like hats is because it makes the shape of people's heads look funny. That's ridiculous. And I just completely missed it. But like, and then I watched it back and I was like, that's such a good line. Well, like, it's just out of nowhere and under.
I mean, like, Thor Ragnarok does it. That's just like Taika Waititi does this all the time, which he's really good at. But it's like, the comedy just comes from like interactions with like the characters and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And, like, I mean, like, the Cornetto trilogy is good, but it doesn't do that. But that's because it's not going for it.
It's not that one off the other.
The reason why I brought The Nice Guys is because I think that has like the best like interaction between like those two characters. Like, I mean, like that scene.
Good actors as well to do
it. The bit in the lift where they're like, what's the bit? They're in the hotel and they're like going up, and then they like leave the lift and they just see like other people get killed and they get back in the lift and go there. But like when they're having that like little conversation of it,
yeah, so, the one in the toilet's the one I remember.
Good. But it's like so perfect. They're just like casually.
Have you seen? Have you guys both seen Jojo Rabbit?
I haven't. I've been meaning to for fucking ages.
I think that's the one for me. That like that's probably my favorite comedy to date. On just right. It's not a funny subject, but the story's really sweet and it has its serious moments and its hilarious moments. But the fact that they just go, why can't let's just fucking take the piss out of this? They're idiots. Like they believed this shit. The Nazis believed in this shit for fun. Fuck it. Yeah,
I think he said that.
Take the piss.
He said that like before running up to the thing. He was like, they were like, why choose Hitler? It's like because I fucking hate him. Like
yeah, he's like it's funny. I'm gonna laugh at him. Like, I'm gonna laugh at him. I think we got some more time in this call left. That's right. I wrote here. This is kind of a cop out just to get you to talk about stand-up and everything, but I wrote, is there any single stand-up performances that make you go like that's your one that you love as a kid or growing up, and any single actor performances in comedies that like for you are, because mine's the same guy, so I don't really want to.
It would be good, I think, to talk about the way specials are shot.
Okay, yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Because I think that's so important.
Yeah, Is it Daniel Sloss has had 2 on Netflix now, hasn't he? He's had 2 done on Netflix.
Yeah, and 1 on HBO.
They don't look. This is not me taking fight, but then they're perfectly done. As in, it doesn't look too over the top, and it's really simple. 4 camera angles. That one's on a slot, so it's going to slide back and forth. Great, let's do it. No worries. Do your thing. We'll just capture that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Perfect. Great. Awesome.
I hate. I don't really like the way Live at the Apollo shot, even though that's like the biggest thing in the UK.
Not nice.
And they always do that. I was watching an interview and someone pointed it out. They always do that thing where if the joke is about black people,
they'll go find a black person.
Cut to an audience shot of a black person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like,
let's get his reaction on this.
What are you to be like, it's okay, you can laugh. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, it's so weird. Yeah. But I think some really well shot comedy specials. Bill Burr, Paper Tiger.
Yeah, that's really well done.
Which apparently, so it's Mike Binder, who was a stand-up and is now a director. He apparently what they focused on was for every joke they would stay on one shot, because when you cut shots, you kind of like your brain kind of resets a little bit, so you kind of lose the flow of the joke.
Yeah.
And something about that, because there's specials on Netflix that I think are class, but never laugh at because I don't feel connected to it in the room. I'm watching it, but I feel super separate. And I think this is potentially really, really wrong, but I think there's something to be said for the audio. Like, people need to stop taking the audio from the desk.
Yeah,
because that's not what you hear when you're in the room.
Yeah, it does feel. That's what actually my personal favorite is Eddie Murphy Raw. Like, that's personally my favorite one to watch. And like, okay, yes, some of it hasn't aged greatly, but it's so good. But like, that's the again, it's from the desk, but you've got the whole crowd you can hear. Like, you can hear everything, and that makes you go, oh, this is hilarious, and like, they're funny, and this is really well done. Like, yeah, this is great.
That's what I hate about Live at the Apollo as well, is like, it's silent while they're talking. It sounds like a fucking podcast. Yep. And then they're like, you're told when you do Live at the Apollo to do your joke and then wait, no matter what happens in the room. Like, so that, like, there's people, and I won't name names or whatever, but there's people that have bombed in the room but look great on TV because they do their punchline and then they walk around the stage enjoying the laugh that's not there that gets pumped in later. And it goes like when there's a few taglines on a joke, it goes like ha ha ha.
Yeah, no,
like, that's not how
it's not. No,
crowds.
I want to hear a man at the back of the theatre yell rude words at the stage while I'm watching the BBC.
I really like albums, like comedy albums on like Spotify. So like, the one that I'm thinking of is Patrice O'Neill, The Lost Files, and it's literally just him recording a set from the back of the room. You can hear glasses clinking, you can hear people kind of moving around a bit, and it's like, it doesn't make any sense to me, because if the aim of a comedy special is to make you feel like you're in the room,
the special,
why the fuck would you take the audio out of the desk? Why would it not all just be mic'd?
Or if you're going to take it from the desk, mic the crowd, as in have one mic.
Well, they do mic the crowd, but it's like they mix it in this weird way.
That's what I'm saying. Don't mix it. Just leave it and be like, if you might miss a line, like a subtle line there, because you're hearing this uproar of laughter while the last joke happened. But I'd rather that to be like, well, I feel like I'm there, so it's fine. Especially like with what's happening at the moment. I watched Letterman's. He does his. I don't remember what the show is. But I watched his
interview thing.
Yeah, his interview thing with Chappelle. Yeah. And that was such a small crowd, and yet it felt so like, cool. Like, it's two guys chatting that are funny.
I want to talk
because like it's still got that.
I'm like quite a big Dave Chappelle fan.
Chappelle's amazing.
Chappelle's probably my favorite. So I think there's a difference between the funniest comedian and the best comedian. In my opinion, Dave Chappelle's the best comedian, and Patrice O'Neill's the funniest comedian.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
But Chappelle, what's the one I really like the way it's shot?
I think Sticks and Stones is my favorite one.
That's cool. I really like the intro.
What was that?
All of his intros I've never seen a man with a better walk on. That's fucking incredible. His walk on. It's incredible.
That, like, those two he did on Netflix. Like, it starts like
Equanimity and the Bird Revelation.
Yeah, them two. Yeah.
I love those.
We might need to just restart a call real quick. Jimmy, do you want to clap and then we can cut? Wonderful. When it's funny you call him David Chappelle. When I first found him, I was like, who is this man? David Chappelle. I was like, what?
Actually, it wouldn't be Chappelle.
Yeah, it would be Chappelle. Yeah. No, I do think it's funny. You do say like he's one of the, as in, I don't see where his jokes are going. And even when I watched like the clips of him from when he was so much younger and before he had the show, and he's doing stand up, and there's one of his routines is about, if Batman had to work in a black neighborhood, and that's the joke about like the joke is blah, 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 they do the crime, and he comes back to the car and the Batmobile's missing, and that's the joke.
Yeah.
I had no clue where that was going the whole way, and yet the punchline's still so on point and so funny. And I just think
there's that one. Incredible. There's that one in I think it's the Bird Revelation. No, it's fuck, which, so they're in the Equanimity and the Bird Revelation.
Yeah.
One of them's in a big theater and one of them's in the Comedy Store, and I can never remember.
I think it's the big room is Equanimity. I want to say the Bird Revelation is the one in the Comedy Store.
What's the first one? Because I know that one's in the big.
That's Equanimity, isn't it? The first one?
Yeah, well then that's
the one in the big theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when he says, when he does the bit where he goes, I'm so good at comedy, I actually write jokes backwards.
Oh, it's amazing.
And then he says, like, I pulled the punchline out of my fishbowl today and said, like, so I kicked her in the pussy.
Yeah.
And then he goes through, and I'm a fucking comedian.
And you got no idea where it's going.
He goes through this fucking stovetop stuffing story. And he's like, and he throws you off at the last second as well by going like, and one of his mothers comes to the door, and it's like, and they're like, oh, classic lesbian, blah, blah. And then it's like, and then he goes, we don't think there'll be enough stovetop stuffing for everyone. And so I kicked her in the pussy.
Yeah, it's incredible.
My mate said, like, every comedian, when they saw that, like, threw their cup of tea across the room. They were just like, fucking bastard! How the fuck do you do that?
It's done.
How do you do that?
What's the point? Yeah, no, he's...
he said that, didn't he? One of them, he was like, I think in a queer comedy now because I don't like him. I'm so good at it. Like,
yeah, it's not fun anymore.
Like, I'll just be standing backstage now.
But one of my favorite things is
how,
like, he's kind of like, I don't know it's not like comedy. I just like really like it. I'm like, but like he sort of like mastered like trailing off. Like what's that one where he gets up the 5 times he met O.J. Simpson?
Oh, that is so fucking good.
The joke is he keeps
every time he comes back to it. Yeah!
And he gets a laugh every single time.
Yeah, it's also, this is something, right? You know, you're brought up as a kid, and parents go, smoking isn't cool. That man makes me want to go through a pack a day. That man on stage, where he's on stage, he's either vaping, which by the way, he makes look badass, or he's there with a whole pack, and it's in the comedy room special, he's like, anyone got a lighter? And I'm like, you are a king. How the fuck have you made this go?
There's a video.
I want to.
There's a video on YouTube of him at a. So what they're, and this is an interesting thing that I've kind of been experiencing for the past year. There's a thing called the Urban Comedy Circuit in London, which means black comedy shows, right?
Yeah, right.
But it's called urban because I don't really know why.
They don't want to sound racist, but they are.
It stems from like 20 years ago. And even still a bit today, like, it's like there wasn't room for black comedians to be on even comedy clubs, never mind on TV, so they built their own circuit. And I've been gigging a bit on the black circuit, which is what I call it, because why are you calling it anything else?
Right,
And there's footage of Dave Chappelle at a black show in South London, like years and years ago, and he lights a cigarette. And somebody goes, oh, you can't smoke here. And he goes, you can't smoke here. I'm Dave Chappelle.
He's the most like, he's a guy who I look at and think like, I don't think there's anyone I'd rather, like, I watched, like, I find, right, I don't find him funny. I do with certain people. The Seinfeld, I'm going to getting coffee with comedians in cars.
Getting coffee. I like that show. It's nice.
I like it. It's a nice show. And I feel like when he's with other people, it makes him funnier and them funny. But the Dave Chappelle one, Dave Chappelle's so calm about it. He doesn't really, like, he's not like a I'm trying to think of a comedian I watched, Will Ferrell, where like Will Ferrell's clearly they're going back and forth with Joe. Dave Chappelle is happy to just chat and be there, and
because he knows.
But I watch that and I'm like,
he knows how good he is.
So much funnier than like, because then the one line he makes is funny, and I'm like, oh yeah, right, that's hilarious.
But like, he's like calm because he knows how good he is, but like not in like an egotistical way.
Yeah,
he's just like aware that he can like just sort of.
That's it. You see that in UK comedy as well. Like if you see those panel shows and stuff, and look, I'm very new, and like if Mock the Week phone up tomorrow, I'll be like, yes please, thank you.
I don't blame you. No, rightly so, yeah.
But there's a weird thing that not many people talk about, that everyone on those shows has writers, and like that they pay to like help them write for those things. And like I saw an interview with Stuart Lee where he was saying when he went and did 8 out of 10 Cats, like he went into the green room and every comedian had a person with them, and he was like, what's going on? And then they all disappeared for a few hours, and he was just sat there like, what? And then he sits down and they hit record, and everyone starts rhyming off these jokes, and he goes, oh.
It clicks.
So if you watch him on 8 out of 10 Cats, or you watch him, Kevin Bridges is another example, he's done all the panel shows once. They kind of just sit there, and when they do have something to say, they say it, and it's class.
Yeah.
But like, it's so weird, and I think in our heads we think, oh, like kind of fakery and TV and like all that. It's like Hollywood stuff, but it happens here as well. It's like,
oh yeah,
all of that's so like cut together, and all the mock the week stuff where they like spin the thing and do some improvised stand up. It's like, no, they go, we want you to do this routine that you've been doing for years, and we'll spin the thing to have something related.
I like both mock the week and 8 out of 10 cats, but I prefer 8 out of 10 cats just because like you're sort of, I mean, like you're sort of watching it and you're like, this is like too good to be kind of like they're too quick, but like also it's like it's also really funny. So at the same time, it's kind of
is really good. And look, I know. But
I mean,
it feels weird. It gives me the creeps a little bit that like, I think, and someone said to me, look, if you were on Mock the Week, you should get a writer, and like you probably would get a writer.
What a lovely compliment. What a way to say it.
Like, what a way to say your writing isn't good enough to do like a fucking 40-minute show. I'm like, you only get to speak about 5 times across the whole fucking show. No, and it's because everyone's trying to get in with their fun. And you can see the people who
Mock the Week, you can like kind of like tell like way easier, I feel. You like look at them, they come up with like the improvised line thing. You're like, that's just like, because like the buzzer goes off and they like 3 of them go straight
Who's
out.
Who's the guy? Oh, he's a black comedian, English. He did the joke about when he was a bouncer. Can't remember the name.
Darren Harriott.
Is it him? The bouncer with a knife. When the knife situation. When the guy comes to the door with a knife, and he takes it off him, and the joke is that it's the story about how a guy went to him. I've given you what is it? I've given you my knife, I just want to dance, is how he tries to convince him to let him into the club. And I found that funny. It's a funny joke. But like, I saw it on the week and went, oh, that's funny. And then I was when you go through Facebook and you just sat like 3 hours scrolling through videos that are meaningless. And like, I did that, and his stand-up routine popped up. And I was like, oh, okay. And it's the same routine. And I was like, now see, I've watched that one first, and I know that one's definitely... Like, you've done this, I instantly was like, wait.
But that's like, the weird
I was like, that's fine, like, there's nothing wrong with it, but...
Fine. Why is it all so fake?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
why is it all like fucking, ooh, they just came up with it on the phone?
There's a weird thing amongst, I was going to say creative filmmakers, or like people who shoot anything, by the way, where they go, we have to hide behind the mystique. You don't. There's a reason why me and Jimmy make this podcast look like shit. And that's because I'm kidding, but like that's like to
we're actually really clever, but
yeah. But like I don't want to hide behind this. I want to be like, this is how it is. There's your project. It's funny. You're gonna enjoy it. Nothing else about it.
It seems so strange to me, and it's like, I don't know, maybe it's arrogant of me for those Mock the Week things to be like, no, I actively practice writing topical jokes. Like, that's what my Twitter account is. It's me constantly.
I'm well aware. I love it.
So I'm just like,
I get like a news feed from you. It's better than BBC.
Well, I just write about 10 jokes a day. And everyone's like, oh, but like to get enough, you want to come across well on Mock the Week. And I'm like, yeah, I'll use my
Twitter feed.
70 Twitter jokes from that week.
At your desk.
And I'll just like expand on every single one of those. It'll take a day, and then I'll go do Mock the Week and fucking knock out of the park without any fucking cunt telling me what to say. And look, like, I know some comedians who've been on Mock the Week, and they're all great comedians. That's kind of how you get there. But it's like, I don't know, like, I don't want to I kind of rail against this stuff, but I don't want to like fuck myself over or whatever. But
no,
I think
it's fine. No one watches this. It'll be fun.
No, I know, but like I say it on like all sorts of shit. Like I say it on my podcast, and I'm like, I don't
stop doing that. Then stop doing that.
But like it's, I don't know. I don't want to fuck
the week as well.
Say on Mock the Week.
Say it on my.
I swear to God, they'd be so funny.
This is my fucking problem. Anytime anyone says like, don't talk about this, I'm like, oh, like fucking.
It'd be so funny if you did.
If I go on Mock the Week, and it will never make the edit ever. I will there's an amazing program called Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn, which was on in the 2000s in America, right? And it's like Mock the Week on fucking coke, because it's unfiltered. There's no super mad cuts. They're all just sat around kind of sofas and like shooting the shit. And Patrice O'Neill frequently would like make fun of people for having prepared material on the show. He'd be like, just stick to your prepared material.
Just picturing you looking at Hugh Dennis and being like, yeah, but you wrote that down beforehand, didn't you? So it's not, it doesn't work. It doesn't count.
I'm just like, shout out Morgan for writing that joke for you, you dickhead.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a guy I know who's like like posts on his story like, oh, I've written a couple of jokes on Mock the Week tonight, and I'm like, that's fucking weird. Like,
it's even more weird. It's even more weird that there's definitely something in your contract to say don't put it online and go, it was me. Don't do that.
That like you say, like a lot of these comedians are really good comedians because like, they're like, and they seem like they're like, I mean, I don't know anything about them, but like, because I just watch the show, I'm like, oh, that's funny. But they're like, that's part of the tragedy, don't you think? Is like they probably could do really well if they didn't have, like, if they just like, you know, like you can set them up like easily, and I mean, it makes you wonder how many of the jokes actually aren't scripted now. Even like,
I think what's shown us this is Taskmaster's done really well.
I was going to say Taskmaster is incredible for everything off the cuff.
You just put really funny people in almost any scenario, and they'll be really, really funny.
It's even better when they've all got social insecurities. Because then they have no idea what to do with each other.
When they talk about it afterwards. Because that's like, I don't know. I mean, but like, I don't think that is scripted because a lot of like the reactions they react like at a normal kind of rate to
and you can tell people can tell what conversation sounds like.
The funniest thing I've ever seen like on Taskmaster is the first season with Romo Tranganathan, and you know when he does the tree wizard thing.
Oh my god!
The video.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there. It's like it's like you have no idea how long it took me to find that song. Like that's clearly improvised, but that's the funniest thing ever because the timing is so perfect, and it didn't feel like something that was written. Like
and you can tell, and I think like, but it's just a risk, and TV people hate that. TV people hate being like, oh, but what if? And
we can't trust the funny man to just actually say the things that we're allowed to say on television. So
if he says a slur, just cut it out and we'll move on with our lives.
Or just let it go. No one cares.
Just let it fly. Yeah, I don't fucking know. But the internet's gonna fucking just completely eat it. Like that's all that's gonna happen.
It's becoming quickly that streaming and the internet is going to eat the BBC alive, and I'm not
sad
really
because they make some good stuff.
I was gonna say I'm sad to see their money go because they've invested it in quite some interesting projects. I'm not very sad to see them go.
No, and it spooks me. Like I don't know if you guys get this with like film people. Like I know loads of comedians that like, and again, I'm not shitting on anyone. Everyone like I might be wrong. Again, I'm very new to this, but it's like I don't want to tell anyone how to do it, but it's like I make my own stuff, but I know a lot of comedians that like are constantly pitching things to other people to make it for them, and I'm like, what about that 45-second sketch could you not film by yourself?
See, that's the thing. So like I've done stuff where like I've written a project and been like, oh, this is I like writing this, and I think I've done okay on the script side of things, and maybe if I send it to someone and then I'm like, yeah, but even if they go, yeah, thank you, they'll go, yeah, thank you, there's £300 for your script. All right, sick, bye-bye. And I'm like, I don't want that. Like, I want to be able to go, someone go, oh, have you done anything? I can go, oh, yeah, I've done this. Yeah. This is a thing I've had for ages now, and, like, I'd love to do it, and I get the rewards from this. Because I'm like, well...
And take the risk. I like taking the risk. I like it all being...
Yeah, exactly. Like... I feel like nowadays, especially for... If you are... It's so easy. It's easier than it's ever been for a creative person to do your own thing now. It's easier than it's ever been. Like, you can find equipment in most places. Oh, not find, obviously, but get your hands on equipment in a lot of places. Editing is a free software you can find in a lot of... So it's just, I mean, I could get it wrong, some of them aren't great, but I have had my fair experience. But, like, you can find it. It's like... But, like, the fact that you can also teach yourself these skills now, why would you go to a producer who's just going to be like, yes, we would love your thing, and you to get nothing? So
but it's great, like you said. Like, I mean, it's true. You can just do anything you want. Like, I literally said to Gabe one day, I was like, "You just want to like make a podcast?" Because we were both bored. I just said like, we just
and now we're here.
Yeah, we just have a camera and we're talking. Yeah. It's like you can just do it like that.
I don't remember what episode this is. I think this is 13.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I've lost count at this point. I have some questions to you about the short film, funnily enough. So are you alright to answer some questions about? It's Fly, is it? It's just Fly, isn't it?
Yeah, Fly.
I nearly said The Fly, but then I was like, I don't want to get that wrong because
it's called Fly. It's kind of a play on words. But it's because it's like a pretty heavy nod to Us, the Jordan Peele film.
All right, yeah, no, fair enough. I
was actually I watched that days ago, and I like actually thinking about something. Oh my god, there's probably like a ton of stuff here that I didn't even realize actually. Because like you fly, like you're flying at the end out the window.
Yeah, that's why it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, and then and you like I didn't. It didn't even occur to me that like you open the window in the first bit, and then like that leads to the second.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, of course, like you've done purpose.
It turns out people who write and direct their own things sometimes know what they're doing. Shock. I want like the first question is really like I suppose it's a really bland question, but like, where the fuck did this come from?
I had the idea I was going to do it as a sketch because I wanted to write something about that very universal experience of
trying to find a fly.
Yeah, going to sleep and then you just hear a fly, and then the rest of your evening is you stood on your bed, like you fucking like diving about your room and shit. And I just needed like a twist at the end, and I needed something or some reason to do it. And I was over the summer, I was like kind of similar to just shitting out content frantically, and got to a point where I was like, I need a fucking break. So I went to visit my girlfriend in Cumbria and turned off my phone for 9 days. I was like, you can go away. I'm not going to be... And people are like, what if it's an emergency? I'm like, there is no emergency in the world that I will help with. The only problem is that I won't know about it, and I'm okay with it.
Also, it's most likely that it is an emergency, so there's no point getting worried about it.
Yeah.
I mean, every week in the news is a new emergency. It's a new strange
this thing, and like people are like, what if like your granny dies? And I'll be like, well, she'll still be fucking dead. Like, I don't want to.
Okay, I didn't get to the premiere, but I saw the screening. She's just not around. Doesn't matter. Yeah,
I'll catch it in the cinema. Like, it's fine. And it's like,
I'll get it on streaming, Netflix own.
But so I was in Cumbria for 9 days, and I was like, I had this kind of. I needed an ending for this film, and I came up with the one that is the end of it, with the fly in the bed. And I was like, that's funny. So
that's good.
And we were just chilling in Cumbria, and I was like, do you want to just make this? Because we were kind of bored. We were just going on walks every day trying to like de-stress and stuff. I was like, do you want to just make it? Like, I've got a tripod, like the equipment. People are so funny. People are like, how did you make? Did it not take forever? I'm like, the equipment used was this tripod,
right,
which cost 20 quid from Amazon, for every shot. Like the best one was so there's a shot in it.
Is it the pan up, the tilt up?
No, the one where it flies out the window.
Okay, that's also a fantastic shot.
I just tied a string to this and put my phone in it and just dropped it out the window. And then
works. And
then so it was that, my iPhone 8 and a softbox, and that was like a £16 softbox from eBay.
They're not. Yeah, you can find.
And then Video Leap, which is just like an editing software on your phone, which I use.
Oh, you edit it on your phone? I can't imagine that. I get annoyed with Premiere. I can't imagine fiddling around on my phone.
But it like, and like, it's just so like. That's what frustrates me, is like, I could have sent that off to BBC Shorts or whatever and been like, can you make this for me? But it's like, I just fucking made it, me and my girlfriend, and it was just like,
I love it. It's one of my favorite things watching, like, I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. I was going to say indie directors, but it's not really indie. It's kind of independent directors. But I love it at the end where they do credits at the end, and it's the same fucking name for 6 titles. And I'm there like, what was the point? I had to do a short film where I did the exact same thing, and I was like, I should just put all of this and then me. Yeah. Like, that's why have I done? Like, what?
I always
and even like
directed by, edited by, music by, and I'm like, it's the same guy.
Everything like, I make, the credits is half of it. It's just the title of my film. Yeah. It's usually the credits consist of, I don't know, made by Jimmy and then starring Gabe, and that's literally about it really.
That's it. That's all we do.
Yeah, and I just like.
But it's funny, like I dropped in Izzy, who's my girlfriend,
director of photography, right?
Yeah, because initially it was like camera person. Yeah. She was like, I want a better title, and I was like, okay. And then like
the funny thing is, that's what they do in professional filmmaking. Is they go like we're not professional filmmakers, but me and Jimmy shot a thing in the summer, which we always joke about because we lost all of it. So it's gone forever. But we shot a thing in the summer.
I love shit like that.
Yeah. Don't even get me started. Like the amount of like I know I have 3 days, like constant work.
I got home. I was like. Because I was editing it, so I got back,
I get a phone call just going, it's not there.
Oh shit, no, that wasn't what I said to you first. I spent the entire like 2 evenings trying to. I found it and I got it and it was like corrupt or something. And I spent 2 days and I gave a message over Discord. I was like, yeah, I need to call you about something really quickly. I go just like, you seem. I know you weren't. You seem more okay than I was. I had my head in my hands. I was just beaten down.
I have a very good knack of being like, it's fine. And then the minute we hung up, I was like, I'm gonna go hang myself for a second.
Yeah.
But like, when we shot that, and we called in every friend of ours who is an actor or does acting or camera work, and we're like, look, we have no money. I'm not giving you anything. If you want to come have a laugh for 3 days, we're just gonna film with. And every single one of them was like, I got fuck all to do. Yeah, sure, it'll be fun.
We paid them in buying them dinner, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, we bought Domino's.
We bought Domino's
the first day. And then we were like, sick, thank you guys, come back tomorrow.
That's the thing. And like, look, people say, oh, but I want to make this, it's just like more ambitious, so I need X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, write something that's easier to make.
Just
you not rocket science.
You have to work within your limits, otherwise you're not going to get anything done.
Yeah, there's always a budget that you have to fit within. Just start with what you can do now, and then
over like the years, I've like, I spend like all my money on like film equipment and stuff because I just was lonely. But I spent all my money on that, and then I'm still thinking about like things that I can make, because I never think about stuff I can make, like, you know, if I ever make it, because I might not, so there's no point thinking about that. So it's like I'm always thinking about the stuff I can make, and I'm like, I'm not actually thinking about the stuff I have now. I'm still thinking about 2 years ago when I had like just my phone. I'm not thinking like, I have a camera now, I can change all this stuff, and I have lights, and I have, you know, these tripods. I have friends who can actually help me out with stuff.
I think that's my favorite moment of that entire shoot, is at the end when I was like, titles for people. Fuck it, you got coffee, you can be camera assistant. Fuck it, sure.
That's fucking
so why not?
Izzy's funny because like at the time she was like, no, I want to be director of photography, and I was like, okay.
You held a fucking iPhone, but fine.
But like it's because I mean, I chose every shot.
Yeah, exactly. But you have to do it, because otherwise it comes up and it's director of photography.
Yeah, and I starred in it as well. Like I was in it.
Yeah, it's like you can't.
How much do you take control over it though? Because like I find that whenever I work with Gabe,
Jesus, working with Jimmy is like, oh my god,
I feel super bad because I'm very specific about everything. So I'm like, oh Gabe, you help me out with this thing or whatever, and then it's usually just me telling him exactly what he needs to.
Have you ever had a teacher? Have you ever had a teacher who goes like, yeah, you just get on with your work, and then keeps coming over to you to go, oh, you need to do this actually. Like you're not doing it right. That's what working with Jimmy's like, because I like it because we always get a really good project at the end. But Jimmy will go, can you just frame up so it's like this? Like, yeah, no worries. And I frame it up like he describes it to me, and then he comes over and goes, no, I don't like this. And he moves and I'm like, you fucking do it then. Like, you take the hat, which is that's the thing of most people who try and make anything.
I'm the same. I'm so, like, if I had a school report now, it would be like, doesn't play well with others. It's like, I just need the fucking, oh God, and like, I need to be in charge of the, like, this is why stand-up's the best, because it's like,
just you.
And this is why I'm weird about, like, if someone like asked me to write for them on Mock the Week, I'd be like, you're not telling my jokes, they're my jokes, okay? And it's like, or if I gave them it and they were like, apparently it's like £100 a day or whatever, and then like you do it, and I saw it on Mock the Week, I'd be like, you fucked that up. Like, I would be so fucking angry. Like,
and in your head, you're like, I can't do that line now because you fucked it.
I don't know if I love working with people. It's my favorite part about like doing all this stuff. It's just, they have to do is like say.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was talking to my friend, there's nothing lonelier than like the sketch I made yesterday, which kind of flopped, which I'm sad about. The sheriff. It was fine. Like looking back, I could have done it better.
That British Army one went everywhere.
Oh shit, that was big.
I showed Jimmy that. I was like, this is the guy we've got on next week. Jimmy goes, oh good. He was like, oh good. I'm looking. I like that. That's good. That's funny.
But like the sheriff one was just like, there's nothing lonelier than me with a pop-up green screen that Izzy. Before Izzy bought me that, I had green wrapping paper that I used as a fucking green screen for stuff. And what's up with people selling like green screen cloth when you can buy green cloth somewhere else.
I've got one here. Look, it's a cloth. It's a big green bed sheet.
Yeah.
I don't know why I bought it. I did it because I was green screen. It's cool,
but so I have one of those, the pop-up ones. It's kind of like an instant tent thing. It's just me, a fucking ring light, the green screen, my tripod on a stand, and then me just like getting in and out of a cowboy costume, and it's so lonely.
It's not fun.
And I'm just like, what you say to me, boy? And then
we feel so with me.
What I like there as well is you didn't think of doing. I'll do all the cowboy lines and leave gaps.
I
do
did
it one by the
gaps.
other one. I'll switch.
But I think that's why that's good, because that's one of the first ones I've done where it's like green screen and like lots of cuts back and forward.
Yeah.
I think what it was is I was so aware of what the edit was going to be.
Yeah.
That you film one half of it.
Are you still editing on your iPhone out of interest?
Yeah.
Right, good. Okay, good. I just wanted to know. I didn't pass judgment. I just thought I'd ask. This man's been nominated twice by 2 different film awards.
I don't know why.
One of them's a Pinewood. One of the film festivals is a Pinewood,
right.
And I'm
not angry. I can't actually. I can't. In my head, I'm like, why is he still doing this?
I don't know why you'd ever want to make editing more uncomfortable for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
And I'm the worst with editing. Jimmy's really fucking talented at it and does it a lot. And usually I get messages from Jimmy being like, I'm gonna fucking top myself. I can't do this anymore. But like, I can't do it for more than 2 hours, or I could just sit here and go, I'm gonna break something. I'm just gonna break, and nothing's gone wrong. I've just realized what I've done is I've wrote a project I actually don't want to look at anymore. And then I
don't know how to. So what I do often with stuff is I find my way of being able to do something.
Yeah.
Even though there's definitely like, that thing of like standing on the shoulders of giants. Yeah. It's like, use the stuff that other people have built and like find the easiest way to do it. You're not gonna revolutionize editing, but I'm just like, but there's this cool app on my phone that I know how to use, and it's like, well, how long does it take? Days, mate. Absolute days. But it's like, it's always the same shit where I just like, do you know how I used to do subtitles?
I don't know if I want to know. If you edit on an iPhone, I don't know how I want to know this.
No, this is when I used to edit on my laptop, but I did it on iMovie. But I did, because I hate when people do subtitles on iMovie because they fade in and out.
Yeah.
And I think that looks fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So what I did was I would, on my phone, create individual images with all the...
Just input the image in?
Yeah, but no, I would create the image with a green background, and then I would go into a different app on my phone, remove the green background. So because on iMovie you can't key it out.
No, because iMovie's wank.
Yeah, unbelievably terrible. But I would remove, so every single bit of subtitle was a different edit that was edited twice and then put in to iMovie, and then.
Can I just say, right? That's the difference between like. That's somewhat like, I imagine at the time you're like, well, this is the best way of doing it. Like in your head, you're like, this works.
That's like the equivalent of like, for doing subtitles, going on Photoshop, writing them at the bottom of the screen, exporting them, importing them. But you put an extra step on that. So you put them into Photoshop, wrote the subtitles, changed the background to green.
But it wasn't Photoshop. It's because it's fucking the free app I have on my phone.
Yeah.
It's not like, if I had Photoshop, that would like half make sense.
To be fair, this is the man. That's what I'm saying. You can make shit now with like, he's using his iPhone. He's still using his iPhone.
I'm an idiot.
Dedication.
This is the thing. I'm just like, I want to be able to do this, and I know how to do this thing, and this thing that leads me to the end.
So I wrote another question here that was like, is more acting and filmmaking in general on your radar, or acting and behind the camera stuff as well? Like, do you want to do more of both of those things?
I'm writing a sitcom pilot that I'm gonna make with a director in Belfast.
Careful you don't lose it after you film it.
Yeah,
just saying.
Don't give it to me.
That happened to us.
Well, this is the good thing, that it won't all be shot on iPhone.
I thought you were gonna say I'm not gonna make it. I honestly think this is the great thing. It's never gonna happen. Yeah. So it's fine.
But this is the weird thing where like people will pitch sitcoms to Channel 4 like every week of their whole lives. But I just know a director in Belfast, and he was like, do you want to write me something? And I was like, okay. And just like smashed. And I was like, it needs tweaking. Like, I've done a first draft with the sitcom pilot. I think it's really good. I got told off because it's a mockumentary, and like, I'm aware that mockumentaries are like on their way out.
Yeah.
So as like someone who's early to script writing, I think it's a really handy way.
Oh, it's cheating. Like in the it's a good version of cheating. It's like,
have you
I can just make this look like it's not professional, and therefore I kind of like.
Episode, the documentary.
What is it?
Community. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
You know the one where the first one. I think it's the one where Pierce is in hospital and Abbott's making the documentary about it. And that thing is like it's easy, but it works.
Yeah.
Like you can just finish the whole thing up with a speech and then just some like random B-roll and
but this is the thing, and it's like I saw it. I got told off by, I don't know if you know who Blind Boy is, who's like a podcaster in Ireland. He's massive, and he like used to have a TV show, and like he's done bits. He has a plastic bag on his head at all times.
Right. Okay. Jimmy, I'm gonna.
We'll do it with Dan.
My brain's just exploded. Yeah. I'm like, I guess I'm gonna have to go find this man and ask him to come on the show.
So he's huge. Like he's got the biggest podcast in Ireland, and it's like,
good.
He had Spike Lee on his podcast.
Our outreach is not the equivalent of Ireland. So I don't know if that quite is the same thing here.
But he had Spike Lee on his podcast, and they're like pals now, or whatever. But
Fuck me. Right. Okay. Did he? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I kind of fucking hate him.
Spike Lee or him?
No, Blind Boy.
Right. Okay.
And he did a tweet thread about Modern Family, being like, I haven't watched it in ages, but am I right in thinking Modern Family is a mockumentary that never addresses the fact that it's mockumentary?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
characters just talk to camera for no reason.
They do talking heads for no reason.
I think this'll look really weird in 10 years' time. And I just replied like, would you ever let people have fun?
That's so funny. That's like
so many directors you can reply that to with.
That's so weird because that is like every single person who's getting into like films approach. It's just like, I'm just trying to have fun. Like, why do I have to justify everything? Like,
just shut up. Just shut. Not everything needs critical theory applied to it. Just shut up.
Oh my god, that's
true. Christopher Nolan.
And he replied like, I'm a writer. I'm trying to analyze the structure of writing to improve blah blah. You've inferred that on your own. No thanks. And I was like, I'm a comedian. It's a joke. Fucking hell. Like
also someone is criticizing like you know, analyzing things too much. Don't respond with that.
Yeah. Stop overanalyzing. Well, actually, in that joke, you've not made me look out like that. You made me look out like this. It's like, right, good. Yeah, nice one.
Analyzing someone's tweet, criticizing how much.
Yeah, it's so fucking. It's like, I don't know, like, but that stuff annoying. Like, and look, I've written it, and it's a fun thing to write because you do get to have those like moments with the characters, and everyone has rules of, and this is what I mean about like, I don't like knowing stuff. Like, I don't like knowing what you're supposed to do and stuff, and it does me wrong when I end up spending an hour per minute of subtitling.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's where it fucks you over. But
that fucks you over, but it's like when I don't care about like there's a guy I know who's reading about like a book a day about screenwriting, and I'm like,
I can't do that.
Just write a fucking story. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it'll need tweaked, and there's structural things that will come out of it, but don't.
You pick up on that naturally. I think you just like. I feel like when you're writing stuff, you naturally just write an art. Like, I mean, it's not good necessarily if you're not like thinking about it, but or like planning ahead, but you naturally do it anyway. And I mean, like,
well, the best thing I heard was,
I mean, like a lot of like big directors, they always say like, just make stuff, and it's like when you're first starting off, it's like I can't just make stuff. I need to like that stuff. But actually, what they mean by that is not like go out and make stuff. Like they just mean like go out and make stuff, and you'll learn from doing it. Like
there's the funny, I don't know if you guys get this, but you know those masterclass things, the ads for them. I always watch the trailers, but I will never buy the thing.
See,
and I
did like
little snippets of them.
I did like a 7-day free trial, and I watched more of it than I fucking cared to, because I was like, I've got 7 days, right? Study.
Because we were saying that on the last podcast.
I got to like 3/4 of the way through and was like, what am I doing? I was like, this is all stuff you just learn. Like, I don't need this.
And we were saying that I said it's always really funny because they always start it off with the one thing you need to know about film, or the one thing you need to know about writing. It's like,
here's 14 episodes.
There's like 14 people. Yeah, it's like 14 people saying that. They're like, oh, but no, this is the one thing. It's like, you need to know a lot of things.
The one I really liked was with David Mamet, who's like a writer, kind of acting teacher.
Right,
I've got Izzy has a few of his books here. he said a couple of things in the trailer thing that I really liked, where he was like, number one, like the first thing you make will be really bad, and that's okay. And I was like, oh, fucking sweet. And then he was like, and he said the process of writing a second draft is just pretending everything that happened accidentally in the first draft was deliberate.
Yep.
And I was like, oh yeah, you just write a story, see where it goes, blah, blah, blah. And then you, throughout the story, you go, oh yeah, that can tie, like as you're going, you go like, that could tie into that. And then, but it's not really set up properly here yet, but it like could make sense. And then the second draft, you're like, okay, let's set that up properly. And then we'll move through. And then like,
I remember,
it all ties together.
There's so many moments I enjoy the writing process. I'm very much like, I enjoy writing with people. I enjoy the feeling of being around people and going, all right, we need to get from here to here. So go. Like someone fire something and we'll go, yes, no, yes, no. But the project, like I can look at a script, I would say like 3 hours maybe after I've wrote the first draft and go, that's stupid.
I hate everything I've ever made.
Yeah, it's terrible. I look at all of it and I go, that's ridiculous. Why
but that's because what people don't understand is I think you know, you write it and then you film it, but actually you're writing it and you're looking at it like every day for like, you know, however many months up until you're filming it, and you're writing loads of drafts for it, and then you film it, and most of the time when me and Gibber film stuff, it's just over like stretches of like day after day after day after day of like filming and like spending every day with like the same people, and you go away and you're like, okay, that was exhausting. And then I had to sit in an edit. Like,
it's the editing process,
like, you know, however many days the editing, and it's like it may come out and it's like that's like amazing that I've made this by myself, but you've still got to hate it because you've spent so much time with it, you know?
Yeah, like, and it's always like the
child
writing
that won't leave home.
Well, there's never an end. There's no such thing as a finished product. There's only such thing as a deadline.
Yeah,
that's what I think about everything. It's like it will, like it might not get better. It'll get better, but and then it'll keep changing and changing and changing as you change and you see it differently. And it'll keep changing. And I saw Seth Rogen was giving out writing advice on Twitter recently, which I thought was cool. And they were like, when do you know a thing's finished? And he was like, when the first day of filming comes.
Yeah.
Like that's literally.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm done. All right.
Yeah. And there's a million things you could change about it. Like that sheriff sketch, I came up with a line just after I posted it. I was like, I should have said, what do you mean you take off your hat and it means he's dead? If you take off your shoe, is he in a coma? Like that.
No, that's a good joke. That's good.
But it's like, there's always another thing you can tag it with. There's always another line, and there's always like...
We're always so wrapped up in our own heads, we always think about that. People who watch it, they don't think about that at all. They're not gonna be like, oh, they should use this line here. And that's why it's like such a nice thing. It's like, I still think it's great. It's like, it's so... I'm thinking like, it's the worst thing I've ever made in my life. But they're like, oh no, I like it. It's like...
I believe we might be running out of time, gentlemen. We might have to start another call.
Do you want me to start a call? Because I have Zoom Premium.
You could do it if you want to do it. I look at Zoom and go, I'm not fucking paying you. I'm really stubborn. I'm not doing it. Like, I won't do it. Well, I'll just keep doing this. If you would do it, that'd be wonderful. If you want to send us over a link.
I'll do that.
Yeah, no, sweet. That's fantastic. Go for it. There's the clap. There we go. Yeah, sorry. You were talking about is more acting and directing and that whole shenanigans.
Yeah. Radar. I mean, I'm interested. I auditioned for drama school twice. And got close the second time and was very upset when I didn't get in. Looking back, very glad I'm not doing movement classes on Zoom right now, because that looks fucking shit. I would be in...
That's very funny. Yeah.
I think I would be in second year of drama school right now doing fuck all.
Yeah. Yeah. Going, oh my god, so much money is burning in front of me in my own eyes, and I don't know what to do. Yeah.
And I think I think I just took it with that way. I kind of interact with everything where I go like, I'll figure it out. I know from getting to the final round at Guildhall, which is where I studied music, I was like, I'm good enough that I'll be able to work this out to some level of workability down the line. Like that'll be fine. I think stand-up is my favorite thing for a number of reasons. You get entire creative control. You get to constantly adjust. There is no finished product until you're at the Netflix special level or whatever.
Yeah.
But even clips I put out online, like I still don't think enough people, the overlap between people coming to club shows that I'm not kind of advertised on and people who, do you know what I mean? Like it's not, like most people won't have seen it in most audiences I go to. So even if you come up with a line, you know, it's constantly growing. There is no deadline on the stand-up. Like, you can constantly keep turning over, and it adapts with you. But it's lonely. Like, I that's why I like acting. It is. So like, I like acting because you get to fuck about with people. And I'm shit in a lot of ways. Like, I was in a Shakespeare a couple of years ago, and I really fucked some other actors over. Like, I forgot. I'm really bad. Like, I'll learn my lines, like, and I know them, but I'm really bad for the overarching.
I see. I'm the opposite. I can get the overarch. I can even probably improv my line and get it to the same point, but I can't learn.
Yeah, no, see, my problem is, like, I'll come off stage and I have no idea what scene is next, no idea what happened. Like, so it
looks like you've like learned the 3 pages your lines are on. And
which isn't true. Like, I know the stuff, but it's like anytime I do anything, I have to have the script off stage so I can go, okay, there's this scene, then I'm in with this one. For whatever reason, I just like, it just doesn't work like that for me. So I came off and I said to JJ, one of the other actors, I was like, it's this now, isn't it? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And then this is opening night. And the director bursts into the wings and goes, the letter. And I was supposed to I was in, basically. I was supposed to be on. And I'd left 2 girls on stage who their line before is like, I think I heard something. And then I didn't appear.
Oh my God. No.
That's where, for me, like, they're the moments for me when I film things that make it funny, because they're the outtakes, so you go, right, cut, fuck's sake. But someone always in the same, like, that moment there, I think I heard something, and then that's the moment where you go, oh no, I guess not. Okay, all right, no, I guess not. Okay, can we cut?
And it's like
that's... If you're on stage and you've just left these poor girls out there going, okay, right.
Because I think a lot of actors get really scared about corpsing. And for people that don't know, it's just like when you laugh or like kind of break character in a scene. I think there's a danger in that where some actors are so scared of corpsing that they stop listening for fear of corpsing.
Yeah, or they don't pay attention to what's around them, as opposed to they're
not in the moment. They're just so focused on staying in whatever mood they think they should be in. Whereas one of the best actors I've ever seen, my friend Shubham, who's in, do you know The Bodyguard? That was on
the BBC one.
Do you know Tahir Mahmood, the guy with the briefcase?
Yes. Yeah, I believe so.
That's my mate
him.
Shubs.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, that's good.
And he's been on at the Globe a bunch of times in London in Shakespeare's, and he's tremendous. Like, he's so fucking good. But he is a corpse machine. Like, I've seen him corpse on stage at the Globe many times.
Right.
And he's just there, stood at the back, just like, laughing.
It's interesting, the minute. Like, I feel like it's the same. Audiences don't give a shit. Like, no one's going, how dare you ruin my prod.
I have such respect for actors who work on stage and stuff like that. After because people like, oh my god, imagine having to let down your lines like that. It's like there's like 100 other things that you've got to work out. I mean, you've got
I've done very minor stage acting. I prefer stage acting. Yeah, no, for sure. I prefer stage acting to acting on camera.
It's so exciting. I love. There's a mate of mine.
It reminds me of like that stand-up feeling of being like, I get the live reaction to what you think of this.
Yeah.
If you're quiet in this moment, you're supposed to be quiet. If you're laughing in this moment, you're supposed to laugh, and everything feels.
But what I don't like in
check
acting, so in stand-up, it's like they're laughing or they're not laughing.
Yeah.
But in acting, quiet can mean boredom or attention.
It can mean anything. It can mean attention. It can mean boredom. It can even mean something's gone wrong and no one wants to say it. It can mean that fucking anything. But it's like when you do I find it very. When we had Michael Shanks on, and he was saying to us, like, it's directing actors is so interesting because you have to go, that was great, guys. How do you think that went? Okay, can we try it like this? Like, you really want to go
I
in.
hate that shit.
But I'm down to go to someone. Look, that was crap. But you're working with an ego that's either very fragile or you're working with no ego at all. So
that's
if it's
why
no ego, you can go. Yeah, working with friends is different because you can go, that was terrible. Please do it again.
If I work with you, Gabe, and you do something wrong, I can tell you that it was shit.
I get told. Jimmy tells me things were shit on
a
needed basis.
I'll only tell my friends that. If I have anyone else, I'll be really awkward.
Because if I just start to doubt myself if they keep saying everything's good.
Yeah.
That's why I hate all this shit. Like, where you're not allowed to say anything shit anymore, and like comedians as well. Like if I bomb, I want you to laugh at me when I come off the stage. Like
it normalizes it.
I do that if my friends bomb and they come off stage and look at me. I go.
Right. Yeah. It makes it
and
feel like okay.
There's nothing in the world that's funnier to me than a really good comedian bombing. Because it's just so wonderful.
Does it make them feel human? It makes them feel like
it's just hilarious. Like on every level, it's just like, this is so fucking funny that I know. Because if you see someone bad bomb, you're just like, oh, that's what should be happening right now.
Yeah.
But you see someone doing their best material, which is really good, and you've seen it smash before, and just whatever, something's happened and it's not working.
Yeah.
And I laugh my tits off at the back of the room every single time. And some people get annoyed at me for that. I've had comedians try to fight me.
Right, that's the next level of try not ask you not to. Is like I'm gonna fight you.
The thing is, if I'm bombing, I like hearing the comedians.
At least it's
at the
a
back
laugh.
of the room.
It's a laugh.
It's just that it's nice to know that they know what you're going through.
Yeah, it's the acknowledgement of unlucky.
It's like,
nicely
fuck's
done.
sake, we've all been there.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's a connection. Whereas, and it's like the laugh lets you know that they don't think you're shit. This is an anomaly, because if you're just shit, it's just shit. But it's like
it's
funny
quiet,
that someone good is doing so shit. Mm-hmm. And I did this once, and the guy. So the night was, it was at a comedy club that has 2 rooms, right? There's a big room and the small room. In the big room, Jack Whitehall was doing a work in progress show. Right. So there was like 500 people there.
Yeah.
In the small room, there was 9 people, and it was an open mic.
Good. I love that difference comparison. Okay, good.
And I, like, from the start, it was doomed. Like, the whole evening was doomed. Every comedian was going on, eating shit. Everyone was like, what the fuck's going on? And I was just like, I went on, just did crowd work, and was just like, Jack Whitehall's in the next. This is so stupid.
Yeah. You like, got these seats.
Yeah.
Like, you're unlucky.
You fucked it.
Yeah.
And I just laughed through it because I was like, this is so ridiculous. And like had a bit of crack. Like it wasn't a great set, but like I pulled some laughs out of the fact that it was shit. And then like everyone was eating shit. And then this guy gets up bombing just like everyone else. But he's one of these guys that bombs really badly, like takes it really bad.
Does he take it personal?
Yeah, he's like quite a big ego on him or whatever. And I'm just laughing because I think it's so funny.
Oh, no.
And then from the stage, he goes, you're a real cunt, Vittorio. And then he comes off, and during the next person's set, he like taps me on the shoulder and goes, can I talk to you outside? And I was like, what? And so I go out, and I was like, what? And he was like, I don't know about you, but I take this seriously. And I was like,
yes!
What are you talking about?
I love those conversations.
First of all, comedy.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah.
Shouldn't be taking it seriously. And he's like, I'm working up there. And I was like, yeah. But it was just funny. Like,
yeah.
And he's like, but it's so distracting. And I'm like, you were talking to someone.
You want a room of people laughing, but me laughing is distracting to you.
Yeah. And it's like, it's just fine.
Yeah,
like, there's a great story of Kevin Hart was on stage at Boston Comedy Club, which is in New York.
Right.
Makes sense, yeah.
Logic, yeah.
And Patrice O'Neill, who, if you haven't seen, his special's called Elephant in the Room. It's on YouTube. It's brilliant.
Right, okay.
Kevin Hart's on stage doing this bit, and he's like young, early Kevin Hart before anyone knew who he was, and he's like eating shit, and like Patrice, you just hear this like noise from the back of the room of like a, and something lands on the stage, like what, like really heavy lands on the stage, and it was a phone book. So Patrice O'Neill had thrown a phone book from the back of the room, and it, like, you know when a phone book lands,
yeah.
And he goes, Kevin Hart goes, what the fuck? And Patrice goes, read it. It's better than your material.
See, like, heckling's one thing, but to have a like amazing comedian go, I'm gonna fuck yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
I have so many questions there. Like...
Where did he get the phone book from? No, I'm kidding. That's not my main question. Right, let's.
That gag.
He carries around for that gag. Because I've had that in my fucking bag for so long. My God.
I was probably at the time like behind the bar. There was probably a phone book because it was pre-internet, I think.
I was gonna say, yeah. No, they.
That's what it should be.
That's
what it should be.
He's
Yeah.
sitting there and he's like, I don't know. He gets up and goes.
Have you got
a phone book?
Yeah, I love being in an alternate universe somewhere. He throws that and just Kevin Hart's not a big guy and he just fucking floors him. That's what I want instead. Yeah, just like it'd be like you when you punch a child. It'd be that when it boom, and he just hits the neck. Speaking of punching children, it's time for Fight or Win. I'm sorry.
Class.
That's a terrible.
No, that was a good link.
No, it's not, because every time I do this, Jimmy sits there and goes, "I'm gonna get sued. I'm gonna get sued."
No, but last time on the podcast that isn't actually out. As time we're recording this,
I told him about the child,
okay.
Punt the child. No, it was a good. I'll go through. Hang on, I'll quickly rattle off last week's ones. We had you either fight Chewbacca, but you've got a gun, or a dog, but you've got a rock.
The dog one.
Right. Okay. Dan chose that as well. He said he'd punt the dog.
No. It wasn't. It was a difficult choice to make. It was more. Logistically, it was a difficult choice to make.
But it's difficult to like actually think through like that bit in I Am Legend where he kills his dog.
Yep.
It was the fact that I wasn't really willing to say that I would rather kill a dog. On a podcast that goes out to 12 people, you know.
Yeah.
Those 12 people are my fans, and I don't want to let them down.
But I think if a dog attacks me,
I'm thinking of that. I'm not thinking like it's just you walk down the street and go, "Fuck it, I'm having him."
It's not an unassuming dog.
I would, however,
my response is I would take it back out to see the sunset and shoot back of the head.
Yeah.
And leave the dog.
Jimmy would go All Mice of Men with Chewbacca. The other ones were. This is my favorite one. Have you seen Shazam the movie? Okay, so there's like a group I think it's like 5 kids. They're all living in an orphanage. They all get powers at the end. Is the point, right? Spoilers. Fuck you. I don't care. It's been out 2 years. Point is, so I put Tyrion Lannister or 2 of the kids from Shazam before they have powers. So you're either fighting 2 orphaned children or Tyrion Lannister.
I mean, I haven't watched any Game of Thrones.
Right, he's the dwarf. He's the dwarf.
Yeah, but you could probably guess which one you'd want to do.
Yeah. Dan chose the children because then he said he could punt the kids, and one of them has crutches. So
2 kids.
Yeah,
kids.
One of them's got crutches. Dan was just like, I'm quoting this from our other co-host. I'm not saying it. He went, I would take his crutches and beat him with them, which is a remarkable way.
Must. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Then we had just I think Rocky. The next one was ridiculous. It was Rocky 3 or the Hound of the Baskervilles. You know what the Hound of the Baskervilles is?
The fucking Sherlock Holmes guy.
Dog, yeah.
The dog. Yeah,
the dog. Yeah, it's the dog. Rocky 3. I feel like you're dying. You're either dying at the hands of Sylvester Stallone or dying at the hands of a dog. But Rocky 3, I'm gonna pack that robot in his house full of dynamite, and he's gonna have no fucking clue when it goes off. You know the one that whatever his fucking I can't remember his best friend's name, but the one that he
it's just that like that scene's really funny because it's like
so
how do we show
it's
that
sealed
Rocky's
in the
made
time.
it big
It's
and he's
sealed in the
become
time
rich?
period. It
It's
really
like he's
is.
got a robot.
Yeah. Right, we'll go into this week's ones. So I only did 2 for this week because to be honest with you, I'm starting to struggle with like ridiculous scenarios to build. I need some time. So, would you rather fight a 10-foot teddy bear or 2 Tom Cruises?
The 2 Tom Cruises.
Because they add up to about 10 foot together.
You pick one Tom Cruise up and throw it at the other Tom Cruise.
Like dwarf tossing. It's like, here we go.
I like to imagine they're both like synced up somehow. So if you hit one, the other person feels it, but that person doesn't. Like a voodoo doll, right? So it's like
they're synced up. They're right hand. Here we go. At the same time, it's like Voltron. I found
what are those twins in Scott Pilgrim?
Oh, fuck, I don't remember. The guitar. Wait, the I don't remember their fucking name.
They get more attention in the actual book, but I like to imagine it's like them.
I made a big point. Like, have you seen the Tom Cruise thing where he gets skirted with a water gun?
No, but that. Eddie freaks out.
Oh, he freaks out. It's so funny. So the guy is interviewing him, and he's got a microphone like this, right?
You told me about this.
He's hidden a water gun at the top. So he points it towards Tom Cruise, asks him a question, and just sprays him. And it's at a premiere, and Tom Cruise he goes to get ushered away, and he's like, no, and then he grabs the reporter, and he's like, He doesn't even get angry. He's just like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And the reporter's the guy who's done the prank is just like, like he just gets all awkward and it's like, it's funny. And he's like, no, but why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And you're watching it going, oh, you angry little man, getting really straight. It's so good.
He takes him by the hand.
I know he takes him by the hand.
He just like pulls him close to him like a disappointed mother. He's like,
yeah, it's so
such
funny.
a weird guy, isn't he?
So bizarre. And the interviews, like, you know when he's on Graham Norton and you think he's so lovely, and I go, no, I think he'd freak me out. Going to him and being like, you know, when he's like,
have you seen that interview where what's that one?
Is it the one where he gets really angry at the guy?
No, it's quite a famous one.
Where he jumps on the sofa?
Yeah, there's one where he jumps on the sofa.
It's like Letterman or whatever, and he just acts like American Psycho, like the Christian Bale from American Psycho. He just acts like so like
he is a very high-ranking Scientologist.
Like, so artificial. It's just like really scary.
Yeah, Scientology thing's weird, like really calculated about how they talk to people.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre. You know, Michael Pena's also one. I didn't realize Michael Pena's also one. He's the guy in the Ant-Man movies, Louise. Don't know if that triggers any memory of who he is. Have you seen Ant-Man? You know the guy who talks really fast? I'm going to tell the story in the real fast time. That one.
No, I think Ant-Man's one of those films that really just kind of went in one ear and out the other for me.
Fair enough. No, I don't blame you. I feel like a lot of that's done for a lot of people. But yeah, okay, so you're fighting Tom Cruise's. Look, Jimmy, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the teddy bear would...
Because I'm picturing the Toy Story 3
Yeah, I'm
teddy
picturing
bear.
big
oh, you mean
10-foot
like
teddy
a
bear
10-foot like Lotso?
Is trying to hit you.
Lotso. Oh my god, with his cane in it. Oh fuck.
Oh, that's terrifying. Yeah, no, I killed Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
You just have to beat him. Well, no, you know you do have to kill him. I'm forcing you to murder. That's fine. You'd murder two. I'd bludgeon one to death with the other one.
Well, I have 2 feet, so I can stuff them on both, can't I?
Yeah, great, good. Yep, commented. All of the 7 dwarfs or 10 angry pigeons.
What?
The 7 dwarfs from Snow White.
Why would you
10
choose the
angry
dwarves
pigeons?
to fight?
10 angry pigeons, because you know what worries me in the dwarves? Dopey.
Oh, fuck. Honestly thought you were going to say, you know what pigeon worries me. I honestly, I don't know why. I just thought you were going to go the other way.
But Dopey wouldn't know his own strength, and he wouldn't know when to stop. Do you know what I mean? Like...
Dopey wouldn't know his own strength. Let me ask it.
He's continuously beating, even all the other dwarfs are like, he's had enough.
No, but like, do you know when the
giants,
kids, like when you're at the swimming pool and you're like messing about wrestling, and then there's a really stupid guy who like will like hold someone under, and you have to be like, yo, like that's Dopey. Dopey would just be like, ha ha ha, and just like.
He's like got you. Yeah, he's got you in a chokehold. He's going red. Look. Oh yeah, that's a good point. I think that was closer because like I fucking hate the thought of being attacked by birds. Like that's terrifying. Because they could just fly around you. Be like, oh, there's 10 of them. But then I guess you do get this.
Why don't you just like poison like breadcrumbs?
I'd take off my shoes.
Right? Oh, I just thought you meant as in you felt more comfortable fighting barefoot. I don't know why. In my head, I was like,
I'm not Bruce Lee.
Yeah, or like Bruce Lee, or like some weird mutant where like you can do like an ape that climbs around with his feet or some shit. I was like, I don't. What? The other thing about pigeons, you could possibly you could just lure them in with bread. Jimmy's right. Just like.
But so the question is always like, are they attacking me straight away?
Yeah, they're attacking you straight away. Yeah. But you can distract. You can think of like Tom Cruise. You could be like.
Well, I always have breadcrumbs in my pocket.
Oh, that's all right then. You're doing all right then. Yeah.
I just scatter
every
them.
Belfast man. Every Belfast man.
Here's a story I've told on a couple podcasts recently, but I think it's so funny. So, a lot of pigeons and seagulls would come down on the playground in school.
Right.
And at the end of the grass football pitch, there was this like fenced off gravel football pitch that we play football on most of the time. And we would do this thing every so often where we would all line up around the edge of the fenced bit, leaving the whole pitch empty.
Yeah.
And there would be maybe 10 or 15 footballs dotted around the edge of the fence, just from like ones that were lying about and stuff.
Right.
And then everyone would stand there in silence. And then after a few seconds, someone would throw a sandwich into the middle of the football pitch. And then all the birds
I know exactly where this is going.
All the birds would come. And then everyone would boot the footballs at the birds.
Oh my god, that's such like a.
So you got enough for advantage here because you've already killed 10 pigeons, so you're fine.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's why they're angry. They're kind of
that's how they're angry. Yeah. My brother saw a sandwich and went for it. It was the last thing he ever did.
But it was it's such dramatic tension when it's like.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, like, go, fire, go. Yeah, that's incredible. Oh my god. Right, okay, well we've got that's final win for this week. I think I need to go and research many more such stupid scenarios for every week now. Last segment of the show is just to know what everyone's been watching or reading or doing lately, basically. And in lockdown, everyone's been watching. I feel like everyone's been watching a lot more shit than usual. So, Jimmy, I always come to you first, so I'll let you have off this week, and we'll go to our guest first.
We filmed the podcast like 2 days ago, so since then,
nothing's changed for you. Yeah, that's why I'm giving you a moment here. So what have you?
Come back to me.
Yeah, no worries. So, what have you been, Vittorio? What have you been watching, or reading, or doing, or mainly watching and reading? Because that's the sort of show premise.
Nothing.
Good. No. I don't know why I include that in the thing every week. I never read anything.
Watching, I saw No Country for Old Men for the first time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which was pretty mad. I do like Coen Brothers. More gunshots than lines of dialogue.
So you want? Yep.
Pretty mad. And it was the premise for that. It was the launching point for that sketch with the sheriff, because he just takes off his hat and she starts crying, and I was like,
"That's weird."
He hasn't been told anything.
That's a sketch in itself, isn't it? Just scratch. I'm just I had an itch. My bad. Yeah.
Oh, he's fine.
Yeah.
That's a better. Fuck you.
I'm sorry.
But that's two different versions that are better than the sketch I made the other day.
No, that's not true.
I watched that. I watched The Guard again, which I enjoyed. Do you know what I watched a few weeks ago?
I don't, but I'm very excited by your tone.
The maddest fucking film I've ever seen in my whole life. And I threw it on. I was back in Belfast over Christmas.
Let it be good time. God, let it be good time. I'm kidding.
I sat down and I was just like, I'll chuck this on just because it's an afternoon. I have nothing else to do. I know who that actor is. I'll put the film on. Sorry to bother you.
Oh, yes!
Love Sorry to Bother You.
3 podcasts we've done where one of us has gone, that's a fucking weird, great movie, isn't it?
Oh my god, I was so hoping you would say that.
It goes so off the rails so fast.
Right, but it's so good though, isn't it?
But what's with all the red herrings?
I don't know.
It's such a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is a pretty interesting concept. You're like, okay, well, there's some like social commentary going in here, and it's just like, what the
yeah. It gets so out of hand so fast.
You're like, this is weird. And it's clearly building up to something, but like, what it builds. God, man, it's like it's.
But there's a couple threads in it that never. And if you haven't seen it, go fuck yourself. But like, there's a couple threads in it that never really get tied up. No. You had those like left eye people, and then but the whole way through, my brother was like, "Oh, that guy has an eye patch. He must be part of that, but is covering it up." No, not at all. And then there was the Asian guy that goes around different cities starting these insurrections, and it was like, that never got referenced again.
I just want to point out by saying, this film made Armie Hammer out to be a drug-taking lunatic. Say what you will about, The Simpsons predicting things, but as current day standards stand, someone's in a little bit of trouble, and it's involving both of those regions. It really does have a lot of red herrings. The main one for me was that the call center itself has fuck all to do with anything. Like, it realistically doesn't, like, other than the fact that he builds up and up and up and up. But like at the start, I was like, okay, so he's gonna go up and then he's gonna.
A lot of the stuff in it has like, it's like symbolism and shit.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I guess like that's like the significance, but you're right. Like in context of like the rest of like the story, it doesn't really mean a whole lot.
I absolutely, one of my favorite things in that movie is the fact that the white person voice is a funny joke. It's a very good joke. Yeah, because it's so like you watch it and you go, it makes sense. Like it's so wrong that it makes sense. But the fact that when they get to a certain level on the thing, they can only use their white person voice, fucking outstanding. Because it's the joke of like, once you're here, you are not allowed to act at all like you actually would. You have to be like this, and this is it, and this is. But the fact that everyone on that level, the late guys, are all black. They're all black on that level, but it doesn't matter.
Mr. Blank, where the guy's like name is like bleeped out, the guy with the eye patch.
Yeah.
I like at that one point, he just comes up and he just does his normal voice. He's like, "Listen, don't be a bitch. Just go down there and like."
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible.
But there's a weird, like, I don't know if I like the way they dubbed the white voice.
See, I tell you what, I get what you're saying. I got used to it at that point. I was like, okay, this works for me.
Didn't they do the same thing in Black Klansman?
I think so, yeah.
Did they dub it as well?
I think it's a dub.
I don't know if they dubbed it, did they?
I think it might be a dub for most of it, yeah.
Are you sure?
It might not be. It could not be. I don't know. John David Washington, he's an incredible actor. Did you know, by the way, he's fucking, shit. He's Denzel's son.
I actually really
Did you know he's Denzel's son?
Absolutely insane.
Bloody nepotism.
John David Washington is Denzel's son.
Yeah,
and I never clocked it.
I
don't know how. I never clocked it once.
Well, I think that's one of them. If you assume and you're wrong, you get called a lot of nasty things.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's always what it's nuts.
Okay. It's absolutely insane, but I actually really... It's one of those songs like I really like it, but I can never watch it again.
I can't show anyone it. I can't try and explain this to people and let them show them it. It has to be you watch it by yourself, and then you're like, oh, this is good, because otherwise I'll sound like a lunatic.
You can recommend it to someone. You have to recommend it to someone, they come back to you and like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I like that it really swings hard. Like it really pushes it. And I like that in everything. Like, because Dave Chappelle says you should try, I think this applies to like all art. Like Evel Knievel, most of the time, didn't make the jump.
Nope.
Like he fucked it up most of the time. But people would come because the attempt was so audacious.
Yeah, and he kept doing it.
So the attempt to jump over 20 school buses is so audacious that no matter what happens at the end, you're still going to come and watch because the attempt is so audacious. And that's the thing with like, Sorry to Bother You. It's like, maybe they didn't pull it off perfectly. But the attempt at that story is so fucking mad.
Yep.
That you just want to watch it anyway. And I think that's true of like stand-up as well. That's what I'm trying to do, where it's like, I don't get paid for the working, I get paid for the attempt.
Yeah.
And it's like, you want to swing for a home run, and that means that sometimes you will hit yourself in the face with the bat.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sorry to Bother You feels like they really fucking swung for the fences.
I love
and
the
pretty
idea.
much, like they pretty much got it.
I love the idea of them trying to pitch that movie. That is incredible. I love the idea when it's like Taika Waititi jokes about when he had to pitch Jojo Rabbit. When he had to pitch Jojo Rabbit, he was like, so it's Hitler, but it's imaginary and it's a comedy. And they all went, sorry? Like that, what? It's set in when? Oh, Nazi Germany. Oh, right.
I guess, but like, do you think that's how it is these days? Like, I feel like people are...
Well, for people with that much clout, I think...
Yeah, no, for people
he was, I don't think the guy, Sorry to Bother You, on Taika Waititi level, but...
What do you think about this? So everyone's very annoyed that I May Destroy You didn't get nominated for any Golden Globes.
What was I May Destroy You?
Michaela Cole.
Oh.
It's not a movie, it's a series.
It's a series, yeah.
Because I don't really get it. First of all, I do this when I go see like Edinburgh shows at the comedy festival. Like, I see one that I really like and I go, that one should win best show. But I haven't seen every show, so I don't know why. Like, I can't be like, even if I've only seen one of the films that's nominated for an Oscar, I'll be like, that one should win, but I don't know any of the others, so I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
A lot of the time with the Oscars, it's the other way around. It's like, that should have been nominated at least.
That's what people are saying about this Michaela Cole thing, but it's also like, I think we just need to stop caring. Like, I don't...
Yeah. People need to realise that like all of these awards are run by agendas and voted by agendas, and therefore it's either never what you want it to be, or it is, but it doesn't win. And either way, stop caring. Like, the Oscars I hate to say it, but the Oscars is a pile of shit, for being actually honest.
Yeah, like, the reason people get so excited when they win one is not like they feel an advantage. It's like they got lucky that year, and like they're still got chosen because they fit like we're talking about Green Book. Like, it was always destined to win Best Picture because it was sort of made to win Best Picture.
It's incredible. It's an incrable film, an incredible story. But
every time I watch it, I feel
ticks
slightly
every box
uncomfortable because I'm like, this is clearly made.
It ticks every single box. It involves race. It involves this. It involves the time period. It involves this. It involves like the nice story arc. It's soundtrack, whatever, everything ticks every box, and therefore you go, well, that's going to win. That's the way you can now look at award lists and go, what one's going to win? Well, what has every box ticked? Which is wrong. It shouldn't be like that. But
those awards only have the clout that we give them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and it's the same with all these film festivals. Like, I refuse to pay money to submit to any film festivals because I'm like, this is a fucking racket. Like, it's an absolute racket. You're thieving bastards.
Yeah.
Where you've gone, you pay us and we'll tell you if your film's good or not.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And use them. But like, there's the one that, like, there's a Matt Damon quote where because he won an Oscar when he was very young. Good Will Hunting won him an Oscar.
Yeah.
When he was quite young. Him and Ben Affleck were both quite young, and they both won it. Well, they won for writing, and I think he also won for acting as well. But the point was, his quote is, he realized at the end of the night, I'm so glad I didn't spend my career chasing this.
Yeah.
Because I would have got here and gone, well, it means fuck all. What am I, like, this is completely irrelevant. He's like, it just happened, and I went, oh, cool. But it doesn't, he's like, it means no
I think it's like,
anything else.
That's why it's like fun to sort of like take the piss out of what you would say if you won the Oscar.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
It's just a statue at the end of the day. But like, I mean, I would like you said, like, if I won one, I would like lose it. But I'm not making shit to win one. I'm making it because I just enjoy doing it. Like, I think that's like the thing.
Jimmy, do you have anything you have been watching?
No.
Okay, I watched Interstellar for the first time.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I really enjoyed it. Good laugh. Really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite Nolan
Never seen
films.
it. I'm not a big sci-fi guy.
See, I wouldn't call myself a big one, but I like it as a genre. I don't mind it. But I had a sour taste in my mouth of Christopher Nolan since I watched Tenet. So I quite enjoyed having like a
waste of time film.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to find a play that sums up the kind of stuff I like that you should both read.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it. No, yeah, go for it. I remember I watched watching Interstellar. It was a nice clearing out of going, oh, this guy can. Me and Jimmy had an interesting conversation, which is a lot of Nolan's best work. It's either a passion project or he's not written it. A lot of it is either his brother writes it or it's a passion project he's worked on for 10 years, like Inception, where he's done it for 10 years and molded it.
So was just the backlog of like
exactly. Interstellar went from studio to studio to studio, and then he got
it. He sort of put his own twist on it. I think that's why it's so good. Yeah. He has like a very specific. Christ, talking about Christopher Nolan again. It's like the fifth week.
We do it every fucking episode. We fall into this trap.
He just has like a sort of twist that he puts on things. I think the trouble is when he has.
Is the twist to cover up Tom Hardy's face in some way?
Yeah, you've got to do that.
Yeah, cover up his face. Cover up the fact that he's in it. Usually is a way of doing it.
My mate Tom was in Dunkirk.
Oh, yeah.
He was the guy in the turtleneck on the boat, and apparently they were taking the piss out of. Cillian Murphy as well. They cover up his face in every Christopher Nolan movie. Like always. At some stage he has his face covered.
In Inception he's bagged.
Yeah, in that Batman one he's the fucking...
He's Scarecrow. Yeah, he's got another bag on his head.
And apparently the whole way through filming they were like, Cillian, are we not going to put anything on your head at any stage during this?
You know, he's actually... This is a little bit off topic, but like Cillian Murphy, so I desperately would want to work with someone like him. Like,
I saw him in a one-man play.
Underrated for like how, like for me, but I think like you know.
I don't know if he's underrated. I just think he's not appreciated enough, even though he's really appreciated.
Yeah, but like for me, like I look at like Gary Oldman, and I think Gary Oldman is like an incredible actor. But more than anything, I look at him and go, I'd love to work with you. Cillian Murphy for me is like you're on the same level as like you're so good. Yeah. But I feel like working with you would be such a fun experience of going, what do you want to do? No, fuck what I want to do. What do you want to do?
I saw him in a one-man show in the Barbican in London. Holy fuck. He's like really, really...
Oh, you know what? So like it really... My aunt is a wig mistress and she's a lot of the reason why I want to do this. And she's she's done films with all these people. She does incredible play. I met... Ben Whishaw, I mentioned on the last podcast, who played
He's great.
And I met him, she worked on... I can't remember the play for the life of me. The point is, I went and watched it opening night with my dad, and then afterwards I went backstage. It was my birthday. It was very nice.
He was in the original of this thing that I was going to talk about.
Oh, there you go then. But like I said to him...
Is that the one with Kevin Spacey?
I've also watched Kevin Spacey from the side of the stage at like age 6, by the way. I'm like 6 years old.
We spoke about that on the podcast.
We've said that on the podcast before. Yeah, my barber got hit on by Kevin Spacey after a show that he did that I went and watched.
Ben Whishaw.
There you go, yeah. No, but like he's like... But for me, the idea of working with Cillian Murphy and being like, I'll just work whatever you give me here. Like, you can do anything, and I go, but fuck me, I want to go see more. Do
you know Samuel L. Jackson refuses to do more than 3 takes of a thing?
Really? I'm not entirely surprised though.
Because he goes, I'm not in the editing room. You've got 3 options there.
Yeah. I don't really blame him. I feel like if he makes his own thing, he'd probably go, I'll do loads. But if it's just...
That's on the same level as like the Harrison Ford thing. He won't leave California. It's like, well,
that's dumb. But I think the big thing
I feel like Samuel Jackson, you're going to get one good take out of 3.
When you get to the point where like your actors, whatever, are like actually causing you trouble, it's like just... don't.
That being said, I'll happily work with Samuel Jackson any day
of
of the week.
I
would never turn that down.
I'm just saying that, like, if it gets to the point where it's like you have to work around.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll work Harrison Ford and Samuel Jackson at the same time.
But some people
I'll make myself that miserable. There you go.
Tarantino clearly doesn't get annoyed that he only does 3 takes, so good on him.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, your script you were going to sell.
Mercury Fur.
Right.
So I like stuff that's set in like one room. I really like Reservoir Dogs.
But yeah, great.
First time I ever watched Reservoir Dogs was with Izzy, and we just like watched on a laptop in bed, and we watched it. Neither of us had ever seen it, and she's an actor, and she's very into the like 50-50 thing and the Bechdel test and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And we watched it, and then she was like, "That was amazing. I think that might be my favorite film."
I called it my favorite Tarantino film. It definitely still is now.
I turned to her, and I went, "Do you see what we can do when you just leave us to it?"
Yeah.
She closed the laptop and like turned over and just went to sleep.
Incredible. Oh god.
But like, look, I mean, all that stuff is valid. But stuff that's set in one room, I really, really like.
Yeah, I love that shit. Yeah.
I don't think this will ever be made into a film, but I think it should be made into a film. You can get it on Amazon for like a tenner. It's all basically set. It is all set in one room. In like a dystopian post-apocalyptic mad thing. It's the sweariest but like play you'll ever read in your whole life. It's 2 hours straight through, no interval.
Right.
And it's the best play ever. And I think it would make a really, really interesting film. But I don't think anyone's ever going to make it. But I think they should.
Jimmy, we'll get on that.
Right, yeah.
I'm talking about the filmmaking part. I'm saying like,
I'm
just gonna nick it and be like, fuck it. I'll do
well,
it.
The problem is, I think people maybe have already tried, but I don't think Philip Ridley would be.
No, yeah, he does not up for selling his things. There's a thing to be said about writers of stories who get stroppy when certain companies come a calling. That go.
There's a book that I read when I was a kid that I've always thought would be a great movie. It's called Bootleg.
Bootleg. Why does that ring a bell?
It's basically the premise is a political party gets elected who make chocolate illegal.
That's right.
And they, like, these kids have to run around and say like code words in shops, and they get out like chocolate from underneath the counter, and it's like
that's cool. Yeah, that's a good.
It's all like contraband kind of speakeasy,
like prohibition kind of thing.
Yeah, but within the chocolate frame, and I think that would be such a really cool, interesting kids movie if someone would just fucking make it.
Tim Burton's gonna make that song.
Yeah.
Probably. That man's directors are insane. Victoria, have you got anything to plug before we go?
Oh shit, yeah. Listen, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Those are the best ways to get me. In terms of podcasts, if you're on a podcast app right now.
What's your wait? Is it? It's no. Oh god, what is it? What's your podcast called?
Which
it's got
one?
like the one that's got the 3 no's, because that's one of my favourite titles of a podcast ever.
It's called No Blacks, No Dogs, No Irish.
There you go. It's brilliant.
So it's me and my friend Mo, who's also a comedian, and he's black.
I was going to say, and black, which is amazing. It's brilliant.
And we just talk about like race, but it's like fun, and we pick a black of the week, a dog of the week, and Irish of the week every week. We're on a break now because we want to get back in. We don't like doing, like, we just got really good at the studio podcast thing.
Yeah.
And, like, we tried a Zoom episode.
When we started this, it was in the first lockdown, right? Yeah. And we were like, okay, well, we're both currently studying. We were like, all right, well, when we can go back there, there's a TV studio. So let's set up in there. We'll film it in there. Big green screen. It will look great. Mm-hmm. And then that never happened. And we went, well, I guess we're doing everything on Zoom then, because I'm in, like, and it was like, oh, this is.
Because I think when you start on Zoom, like I had a podcast called Doing Bits where we got comedians on to talk through material ideas because we didn't have any shows, and that's always been on Zoom because it was a fucking lockdown podcast. That was like the point of it. That worked fine. So no Blacks, No Dogs, No Irish. There's 7 episodes there. We'll call that like the first series. They're really, really fucking good. I'm really proud of that one.
They are. They're really. I must admit, they're very good fun. I think I'm 2 or 3 in, but they're good fun. It's a good laugh. And
it's a good premise, and it's like really fun, and Mo's great. The other one that if you're a bit more, it's just kind of a bit more rambly and a bit more kind of me, the Good Guy podcast, which is currently just me walking in the park. I chuck a lapel mic on, go for a walk in the park. That comes out every Monday, and there's a Patreon episode on Thursdays, but every Monday. And I did that 5 days a week for the past 2 weeks, and then I got so stressed that my jaw seized up.
Do you look like a crazy person walking through the park ramp? Right, good. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure. Good. Because I look like a crazy person doing this to no one.
That's part of it. It's like really fun to like walk around and just be talking to myself, and like people kind of look at me weird. But then what I do is like, you know, when you catch snippets of people's conversations walking past, I like stop talking and like
let that happen.
Use that to like launch into different. Like the other week, I heard a woman go, and I wasn't wearing a bra, so I had to hide them under the table.
You like that's the moment where I have one of the moments my brain goes, what do I say first?
You don't want context for that though either, do you?
No, not at all. It's just a beautiful sentence. It's a beautiful sentence.
Yeah, for sure. So check out both or 3
No
podcasts?
Blacks, No Dogs, No Irish. If you want some like very funny like racial insensitivity.
It's very good. It's very good.
Doing Bits if you're like a stand-up fan and want like an inside scoop on how stand-ups make their material. And then the Good Guy podcast for a bit more of a chill.
I also like film podcast.
Oh, film buffs. Yeah, go watch short film.
Like it's really good fun. It's a good laugh.
There's the mini documentary as well, which I didn't really make, but it's also in a garden called the Socially Distant Social Club. That's good. I mean, I think this is the problem with like, because I frantically make so much stuff. When anytime at the end of podcasts where they're like, "Do you want to plug stuff?" It takes me half an hour, and then no one like. Hopefully the people listening will have like latched onto one of those and
go find that. Yeah,
I don't want you to just be like, just pick one of them, go get it.
Well, my advice there would also be like, well, I'll make sure Jimmy links your Twitter and Instagram and stuff in the description below. I'd make sure like look at that and just go through and pick things. That's a good way of doing it because you're always active on Twitter and stuff. So just pick at whatever he tweets at. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Really good fun.
Yeah, cheers.
I'm getting to the point now where like we've gone through quite a few guests, and I keep saying to Jimmy, I'm like, I don't know who to call back and be like, do you want to come on again at some point? Because I'm like,
I'll come on again.
I want to go back to everyone and be like, come on again, but I'm like, I don't. It's like a breakup. I'm like, am I leaving it? Should I call now? Should I wait? Should I call back now? No, wait. But
for sure. Watch a few more films and then we'll do.
Yeah. We'll do that for sure. Yeah, that's how this will work. But no, it's been a pleasure having you on. Make sure we get you back. You can check out more episodes down below if you do want to.
Why is it called Instant Ravioli?
That's this is a question that has been asked many a time.
No, because
go on.
So I made a second channel because I wanted to, and then I was like, I need to think of a name for it. I picked out like 2 words. I was like instant and then ravioli because I was gonna call it instant noodle, and I was like, no, that doesn't sound good. So I was like, what's another like
instant ravioli?
Yeah, I was like, ravioli then.
It's like it's almost like iambic. That's quite nice.
Yeah, and I was like, let's make a podcast, and I was like, I have a channel for it. So
yeah, it genuinely the channel was called it, and we were like, fuck it, and then
it's a good name.
We agreed that I personally don't like the word podcast at the end of a like title.
Yeah.
So we did show because it sounds, and also originally we were planning to make it out like SNL. But in the way where we were like, guest is here, he's a host as well, here we go. And then we were like, oh, fuck it, we're doing everything on Zoom, nothing feels like anything anymore. But like, the show title comes along quite nicely.
My Twitter name used to be Ravioli McGee because my name's hard to spell and I'm half Italian, half Irish.
I was gonna say, have not been blessed with an easy name to go
on
with.
stage, I was like, my name's really hard to spell, but type in Ravioli McGee and you'll find me on Twitter.
Nice, yeah, that's fantastic. have you got 2 middle names, or have you got 1?
I have a middle name and a confirmation name.
Right, okay, because I'm quarter Italian, but my family, a lot of my family married Italian. Like,
it's interesting. It's interesting.
It feels a lot more than it does.
You're part Irish and part Italian, because my family's from Ireland and Gabe's family's from Italy.
Yeah, there you go.
And also, despite the fact that it is, everyone assumes I like it, the Irishman is fucking dog shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Everyone goes, oh, but it's like Italians and it's Irish. Is that not? I'm like, no. If I wanted to see old Italian men hand each other envelopes with money, I would go to my dad's birthday party, okay?
I love the birthday parties where the random Italians show up and you go, who the fuck is that? And they go, family friend, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry about him. Why is he in all black? Don't.
He's wearing a suit. He's got like loads of like people behind him.
Yeah. Who are the 6 men he's with? Friends, family friends, ignore that, yeah. This has been the Instant Ravioli Show. I've been your host, Gabriel Morena, with Jimmy Rogers and Vittorio Angelone. Thank you very much for watching.